Hello, friends. We are back. It is time for div reviews. This is, Steak Explores Shadorra or whatever.
Lewd.
I know. REL 1 and 2A. We're going to do some div reviews. Shadorra is an ogre. He does not feel like whichever being on camera today, unfortunately, but that's fine. Sometimes it happens. I'm not even going to be here next week, so.
Yeah.
Yep. As a reminder, next week, this div review will take place on T-Self's channel. I don't know whether I'll get a hold of the VOD and upload it to my YouTube channel or not yet. I don't know if that has been determined, but the live version will happen over there because I will be in San Diego for work stuff. But this is week 4, and it is an even-numbered week, so we're going to be doing some match review stuff. We're going to look at a couple games, and the very first one is going to be my old friend Khalerick. I played against him 2 seasons ago, I think, with my Nurgle.
Yeah, because that was the last time I was Lizards.
And he made it to playoffs from that div that season, and he did fairly well last season as well. We're going to take a look at him in this match. And ArchXL again. We did look at Not an Anime Sports Team 2 weeks ago, but considering this is REL 1 and T-Self is covering every REL 1 game, this is the one that he didn't cover this week. So we are going to cover it so that it does get covered at least. We are doubling up on a player, but
we also know that there are a lot of Div 1 folks who watch T-Self streams religiously. So realistically, it's better to get the one that wasn't watched.
Pretty much, yeah. We're going to relax our try to get everybody rule in Div 1 a little bit because T-Self is going to get most people, and we'll kind of be back up to him if he doesn't manage to grab something. Then we will.
Look, I bet on the High Elves. I can't wait to see how ArchXL disappoints me again.
Was this a contentious one?
It was. You picked the Bretonnians, and I picked the High Elves. Though I believe I did it with great trepidation.
Shall we jump into the start of the replay? I will bring us into game.
Yes, I am sitting here watching the pretty boys jostle around.
Yes. So yeah, like we said, T-Self has this is the one game that T-Self didn't get to in this week in REL 1, so we're going to cover it, be his backup again, which is why we're doing ArchXL a second time. Sorry if you don't like that. Too bad. This is my show. Fuck you.
I also thought Ben was leaving this week, so I definitely planned to cast this with T-Self today, and then only realized an hour ago that Ben was in fact still in the country.
Yes, I'm still here. No, it's I don't. Somebody go back and watch last week and check to see if I said I'm going to be gone next week.
You almost certainly did. I'm just not good with details, information, and listening.
I mean, I might have misspoke because I'm also notoriously bad at broadcasting information correctly. So very well may have been me. But I'm gone next week. I leave Sunday afternoon, and I come back the following Friday. I was going to say morning, but I leave Friday morning and get back Saturday morning because 4-hour time differences and a flight across the country are a hell of a thing. Right. Are we good to start this?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, play.
1.
Let's get some skills up there.
It's a lot of skills.
It really is.
Melon Mounter the second. Low hit chance the second. Glumlung. What?
I'm confused as to what you're looking at.
I'm reading the peasant names.
Oh, I see, yes. Melon Mounter. What do we have in terms of inducements? There's a wizard for Battle Brothers, and that's it. But a wizard is pretty good.
Swig Snack Stadium? I forget what that is, actually. That one.
Yeah. That one.
I forget what that one is, actually. I'm zoomed in on it. Look at the detail.
I mean, you're zoomed in on it, but I'm
Beer,
not.
fries, and sausages equals 1 cabal.
Is that what it says?
Yes, if you zoom in on the sign.
Oh, I see.
High kick for the Battle Brothers, who Not Anime Sports Team chose to kick, so Elves choosing to go on defense.
Not surprising.
I see. No rocks and stuff like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's the no rock one.
Basically, the fans are too happy, so they do not hurl things onto the...
Yeah, it's no pitch invasion and no rock, I think, right? Yeah.
No, I thought no pitch invasion was the no riot one.
No,
Dub Skull early on.
Oh yeah, it is. The no riot one is the security gate, which is no pitch invasion and no riot. Anyway, yes, I was gonna say that the wizard is probably a pretty good choice for the Bretts here. Like normally, it can potentially be hard for them to recover, considering they're an Agi 3 team. But this is not an Agi 3 Brett team; it's an Agi 4 Brett team. Look at those those blitzers.
That was a lot of blocks to get 3 people down.
It certainly was.
And 8 a reroll immediately. Choosing to keep the ball in the backfields, I think out of range. Yes.
Yeah, some other thing that doesn't matter.
Goes after the sidestepper, does find the knockdown, so is not punished.
Yeah, get the ref. The other one is get the ref, so it's the free bribe thing. Is canceled. No free bribes.
Yeah, so like it always comes. Often on pitch control teams, you'll see them choose between
that one and the riot one.
The rock, and the riot one, and I always put it as protecting players versus winning games.
I mean, I guess it depends.
Brett's doing a pretty good job here of covering off the escape for these 2 linos, that they are going to eat, of course, the blitz on their wrestle piece.
I generally like the anti-riot.
Okay.
You're ahead, I guess.
Yep.
Tackle, dead. Witch Hunter is dead.
He got better. He's MNG'd now.
Slightly better.
Oh, that's a hell of a way to start the game.
Certainly is.
Good thing I bet on the high elves.
Yeah, I bet on the Bretts, so that's not really great. I was going to say, I normally take on controller, punchy, bash sort of teams. I like to take the anti-riot one, mostly because very often you'll end up playing to a 2-1 grind or a 1-0, and then suddenly giving your opponent a 2-turn chance instead of a 1-turn chance can turn your win into a loss or win into a draw. So
REXL couldn't quite decide where he wanted to go there and was not punished by failing that GFI he definitely didn't need to do.
Shh.
Cough.
I do that all the time.
I like to pause dramatically before I take those GFIs so I can feel how stupid I am, and then I take it and die.
Utilizing that Mighty Blow on an exposed elf, which is a pretty good idea, honestly.
Yeah, he's probably going to look to get in a foul. I was kind of surprised he didn't get one in last turn. Especially, he is setting up in a risky way, which is telling me he's definitely going to foul.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't foul this, you're crazy.
It is going to be possible, I believe, to... Okay, so this setup is a bit awkward. He can easily be 2-died from the leaper.
Right, there is a leaping elf. I kind of forgot about that.
That's because he only has 2 guard and one of them is now dead. So never mind. There's nothing he can really do about this other than set up in like an anti-leap cage.
And then suddenly that's your entire team when you build an anti-leap cage. It's a lot of players.
Yeah, so we might not see REXL go for it yet. The scatters would be pretty bad.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have an easy way to get around back to take away this assist, actually. So it's not an easy 2-die.
Well, you can
have
take...
to, like, run around the back.
No, couldn't you not take away the assist? No, yeah, that's true. There's kind of a player in the way. Never mind.
Yeah, he screened off this part, so we couldn't get it around to the back corner to take away the assist from Companion. Elects to go for a nice tackle hit on Lord Porahoy, who is definitely one of the stars of this team.
Agi Mighty Blow. I mean, there are 2 Agi Mighty Blows.
REXL doing some elf things, rolling some dice.
What else do? We get a diving tackle on the dodge blitzer. And
yeah, but the dodge blitzer also has tackle, so I think this is going to go poorly for him. Nope, never mind. Khalerick's going to dub skull again.
You're ahead.
Okay.
Dub skull.
All right, I'm pausing.
Oh man, we just saw the dub skull on the sidestep. And even if he did have the 2-die there, like you said, the best he could hope for scatters really is like the 2 in 8 that it landed on a peasant, and then the peasant failed to catch it, and then it bounced further forward. The free spot was bad. It was in a lot of tackle zones, and 2 of the cage corners were blitzers who have catch. So like you don't really want it to scatter onto them. So
I think we might see a foul here, guys. Oh, this is
really.
This is going to be negligibly safe. I think it has the look of a knot cage. Ooh, dodging out for an assist. I mean, it was a 1 in 36.
I like it.
So yeah, this is what we call in the biz not a cage.
It's certainly not a cage. Can the elves
get a good foul?
And a KO out of it is good.
Rewarded? Is it a send off? Yes.
Still a KO. and that's fine. I'd trade a peasant getting sent off for an elf getting sent off. And yeah, it's not a cage, but it turns out he's physically out of range of the leaper, so he doesn't really care.
He doesn't care about the leaper, though, because, he could have dodged the guard out, potentially, but I guess he's not going to go for it. Yeah, again, no real recovery. He would be blitzing it back up into this formation of Bretonnians.
It's not
half of whom have catch.
There's a lot of with this team. I mean, the ball is never quote safe because these elves are ridiculous, but it's more about making it so that your opponent isn't really incentivized to go for it because it's not advantageous. And
yeah, I mean,
Khalerick has been doing a good job
that's
with that.
True right now, mostly because Khalerick is getting the shit kicked out of him.
I mean, accurate, I guess. We've got, well, he's only got 2 players off, really.
Yeah, it's just that like a lot of things have not been going his way. So he's getting out armor broken. He's getting
that's true.
Out removed.
I need to pour more beer. Man, I don't know what
it's
it is.
It's a pretty little elf screen.
Ah!
Did you spill your beer?
No, just every time I pour the Dunham like saison, the one with the mountains on it. I don't know. Their transportation protocol must be terrible, but every time I open it, it's like incredibly foamy.
Weird. It's not like that when you buy it locally.
It must be like how they transport it or something, but like literally every bottle I buy is like super foam whenever you pour it.
Weird. I mean, it is a foamy beer. It's a saison.
That is true, but it's like more than I expect every time. So maybe I should expect it by now, but I'm not good at pattern recognition, I guess.
It's a cage.
It is. Look, a cage.
It's even a pretty good one. Guards in the right place. The leaper could get in here, but you have no way to get into the back. Khalerick's doing a good job of cutting off. No, actually, no. This time he could take away the assist.
I feel like literally every time, like every turn, you're like, "Hey, look, a cage, but we could leap in."
Because that is
every single
true.
Turn.
He every single turn he has the opportunity to leap on the ball. He just doesn't need to currently.
No,
because he is beating the crap out of the Bretonnians, getting another break here.
Yep, there's the break. Just a break though, nothing particularly terrible so far, but that is a really good piece, and having him gone for a turn certainly hurts.
Stuns matter.
Yeah, being outnumbered by an elf team is never really kind of where you want to be as a non-elf team. If you're an elf team as well, it turns out you can kind of keep up with the elf nonsense sometimes. But if you're not,
this is spicy.
If you're not an elf team, it's hard to keep up with them if you have fewer players, because their players are just better than yours in a lot of cases.
Hey, you got one.
Well, we knocked one down. There's the armor break because Shadorra is still ahead somehow, and it's a KO.
I must be skipping things like subconsciously.
Yeah, so it looks like this is where we're going to begin to make the forward progress. Although we are pretty solidly in range of the leap player if we move that ball forward now.
Nah, sideline cage. He's got sidestep. What could go wrong? Ooh, some GFIs here. I might describe this as negligibly safe.
Not at all.
Yeah. So what he's doing here is he's saying you can punt the ball with a 2-die, but the scatter is going to be back into my line.
Pretty much.
But I think ReXL is going to.
Yeah, like it's not like if once again it's Khalerick's sort of plan right now is never I'm safe, because he really can't be from this player.
Hey, look, the ball went out. Hey, look, the ball went into the elves.
Oh dear. But he is setting up in ways that, like, yeah, sure, you can hit me. You're always going to be able to hit me, but he's setting up in ways that make it not necessarily advantageous for the elves to hit him. Before it was you're going to have to roll a bunch of dice and all the scatters are bad. This way it's, three of the scatters are out and it could be into a worse place. But
so the elf game is often one of forcing your opponent to make mistakes and understanding when the right moment to like attempt the kind of risky bullshit is, because like this is an easy elf game, right? This is a game where everything is going right for the elves. They're out bashing the Bretonnians, and the Bretonnians are immediately feeling pressured and then overextending. So there's like obvious opportunities for ReXL to do stuff. Oh, snakes.
Yeah, and I will say that, despite some of the double skulls and stuff and the armor breaks that have happened to Khalerick, he's playing it he's playing it really well. He's certainly positioning in ways that make the
Well,
elves
I mean,
disincentivized to do things.
This sideline cage was a bit
he had to go forward at some point, and that was like, it wasn't safe, but it was like, it was on the side, right? So there was the chance that it couldn't go well for the elves, and I think he kind of had to at this point. It was turn 5.
It's debatable. He's gonna get some hits here. The elves are incredibly based.
Hello, Treble. Yeah, it's Shadorra is an ogre today.
Oh, does not have tackle, so that didn't work. But we have another follow-up Mighty Blow hit that does find a POW. And no break.
Mighty Blow, not being very mighty at all.
No, Mighty Push, Mighty Knockdown.
Mighty Knockdown.
Looks like the Bretts are basically giving up on the ball. I mean, that was a brutal scatter. So.
Yeah, that was about as bad as it could have gone. You know, he was kind of hoping for either a scatter directly back into his own lines or a scatter out and then like far away from the elves. Or even just like, if you hit me, there's a 5 in 8 chance that this scatter is bad for you, so maybe don't try to hit me. But REXXL went for it and it worked out, so I think I would have gone for it in that situation too, certainly. But elves doing elf things, and the ball is now gone.
Ooh, that would have been a dangerous snake. Would have been in range of this plus agi Mighty Blow Blitzer. That said, I mean, at this point you might as well try the cage dive. I guess you don't really have any good recovery. The elves are going to take it no matter what you do.
You have a wizard.
Do you wizard? No, because if you wizard this, he's got 2 recovery options. You don't really have any players. He's even screened you off from the ball. I think this would be a waste of...
I don't think I would wizard here either. I'm just saying that
Khalerick agrees.
The cage dive is not really a good one. Better than the cage dive would be a wizard, but I don't think the wizard is good. So
yeah, you'd have a 75% red die. Yeah, not worth it, of course.
No, I don't think so. Looks like we're just going to punch some elves.
Acknowledging that the drive is lost.
We still have a wizard, so there's a reasonable chance that we can turn over the elves in the elf drive. Elves would certainly rather be on defense than offense in a lot of cases.
I think he's trying to make the leaps out of here harder. I'm not actually sure what he's doing. I think he's just protecting his key players, actually.
Yeah, protecting important players, threatening to punch the strength guy, that kind of thing. Threatening to surf the strength guy, actually, unless he moves. But the elves can just score here. I feel like at this point you might as well just stall till turn 8. There's no real reason not to. Unless you're really worried about your strength piece, but it's a 2+ dodge to run to safety.
You don't want to risk the LOS hits.
Nope.
Mighty Blow's going to start popping off eventually.
One of these days.
More dub skulls. Oh, a quad skull.
Still ahead.
Well, there's a quad skull. It's not very impactful.
Here are the double skulls. And there's a quad skull. I was about to ask, do you start throwing the vanity passes? But nope, not anymore. Not after a quad skull.
Is that ball safe?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get someone onto it, but you can't hit it. You can get 2 players on to base it, but that's it.
I mean, technically you could wizard and then pray that the scatter goes in one of these 3 squares so you can actually reach it, but like that's a bad idea. Don't do it. I'm just offering options. Yeah, Mighty Blow Blitz.
Get some Mighty Blow hit, yeah, on the plus strength leaper. This could be huge.
Yeah, the wrestle protects him slightly, but
not
in this case.
He has Juggernaut. Oh no, it's Dauntless, never mind.
Yeah. Number break, but it is not a removal. Just a stun. I would be... Are we going to foul him? I'd be surprised if we don't foul somebody. You have a bench of peasants, although you're starting to run out.
I don't like fouling the stun. I would have gone for the Blodge Garter, I think.
That guy can win this game on his own. I think he's valuable enough to
I guess
fouling.
at this point stuns don't matter, but hey, look, you got to send off.
The ref... these elves have paid off the ref today, certainly. 2 fouls, 2 send-offs, something like that. Or 3 fouls, 2 send-offs. Well, that's unfortunate, and basically at this point you just can't afford to foul anymore. and all you've gotten for it was a KO, which certainly helped at the time, but if that KO comes back, it's not great.
Goes for a handoff here, risking the 1 in 36.
Does it level the player that he's trying to... Nope, it puts him Vanity Pass away, though. Or, no, a Kaz away.
2 Vanity Passes, realistically.
Yes, that's probably the better way of looking at it. As a Nurgle player, I tend to think of my SPP in terms of Kaz's rather than in terms of Vanity Passes, but... I mean, quad sculling was fine. It was entirely irrelevant, right? Like, it didn't matter. Don't skip things or you're gonna get all ahead and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Brets are setting up. I definitely skipped.
Okay, well, I'm gonna watch the KOs. One of the elves has come back, and the peasant stays out. So the Brets are actually gonna be down players going into this defense. I think they're gonna be down 2.
9 on 10, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, the elves had no bench because they have a loner. And that one loner stayed out. At least it was the loner that stayed out rather than the actual real elf. So Brets are only down 1 player, but being down against elves is never really where you want to be because it turns out elves are better than you. Setting up to get a couple blocks on those peasants. We got the catcher down in the back, ready to scoop it out, and the thrower, ready to grab that. And some blitzing threats as well set up. Extra reroll, mostly irrelevant, I think. 4 for both teams now. And here come the punches. 1 down. Push.
Fend making this annoying.
Fend is always very annoying. Fend is the peasants are very annoying players sometimes, and it's great because they're very annoying for 40k.
I like his dopey little mug as the punch is coming in.
Yeah, the peasants are so dumb. They look so stupid, and they make terrible noises.
This is a frenzy trap.
It is, but it doesn't matter when you knock over the player.
Well, he committed a reroll to it, so...
It was the free reroll, so...
And risked a dodge off tackle.
Well, fills in the
Small
vanity
risks,
pass.
but they do happen. Trying to finally level up a thrower now that he's got one with good stats.
Plus
but he does
movement.
fail the handoff, so the ball's going to be on the floor.
Not really too much of an issue. Bretonnians are, technically in range of that ball, but there's a lot of elves in the way. It's not really feasible. Unless you hit like a god fireball on those 3 elves in the line. But I think only a crazy person would try that as a strategy. That's an injury.
Well, you're ahead of me now. That's fine, though.
That is good.
Yep, finally gets a removal. It is still just on a lino, though, so he's not really getting anywhere.
Not anybody important, but it is. It does even up the player count now, which helps because you really don't want to be. You need to be ahead players when your team has this much like Mighty Blow against elves, and the elves have this many skills. The only way you're really going to have an advantage is if you try to remove some of the elves. Even if it's just a lino, it's 1 less assist piece, 1 less pass target, that kind of thing. Even a naked elf is a pretty scary player. Bend! Man, it's weird seeing a Bretonnian team with like actual reasonable skills. I'm so used to my 1-minute Bretonnian team where I like don't take things like, sure hands because I'm not allowed to pick up a ball with them.
Well, this is a Bretonnian team with a lot of elf skills and a lot of kill, but not a lot of pitch control. They're really lacking in the guard. I think they lost a couple of guard.
Well, they're very elfy. Even when I played them like 2 seasons ago, they were like very blodge heavy Bretonnians and like pretty elfy. I think there was even an agi there. That's a touchdown.
Yeah,
by the way.
REXL deciding to make it 2-0 early on.
Yeah, quick score. Things look pretty in favor of the elves right now. Certainly 2-0. Yeah, it's a very elfy Bretonnian team. Even 2 seasons ago it was, and Khalerick
I'll
does.
be honest, I don't know
way.
about that. I like doing that against slower teams, but Bretts can score twice. You gotta be careful.
That's true. I mean, the blitzers are pretty fast, but
and he wasn't under a ton of pressure, so
no.
I think this might have been a bit him getting a bit antsy.
It may have been a bit aggressive, I guess, but I think that ArchXL would rather be on defense.
That's also true. He's got a team that's very well equipped for defense,
especially against these Bretts who are very elfy and they're not very like punch. Well, they do have some punch, but there's not a lot of guard, like you said. So it's very difficult for them to make their ball safe from the elves at any point, and the elves kind of outstrength them certainly. So I think the elves would rather be on defense here, and being up 2-0 is never something you want to say no to, and they'd rather be on defense. So scoring isn't. I don't hate it. I mean, some people may have stalled more, but I think it's fine. Setting up to grab the maximum number of Mighty Blow hits they can on the LOS blocks, which is 2.
Also potentially to 2-turn.
Hey, look, no rock.
Oh, does it show as player 1 and player 2 suffer rock injuries to you?
Yes. Anytime something is canceled, it does that.
I wish it could have. I wish it would roll it so you could see who was going to take the rock hit.
Yeah, it's because of how it's coded, right? Like at the start, there's like if state.
Poorly.
Yes, it's because of how it's coded. It would randomly generate the players, then pull the player names, and then put them into their print statement, kind of thing. And since there's probably an if statement at the start that says like if this, then just don't do it. So it never generates which players it is, and then it doesn't know what players to put in, so it prints out the variable names instead.
Yeah, the fact that it like this very expected thing results in it printing nonsense is.
Oh, it's very typical of how this game is coded. Yes.
Yeah. Poorly planned. I
mean, I know exactly. I'm like, I can see the code in my head. I understand. I can imagine exactly how this is happening. Right? Like, there's just some sort of like if statement at the start of it that's like if squig sandwich thing. Just don't do the rest of this function.
I wondered if he was going to foul there before picking the ball up, which was a little ambitious. Got the old well-armored pimp running forward as a very isolated scoring threat.
On a wrestle stand firm player. I mean, the stand firm helps, the wrestle doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most credible scoring threat at Agi 3, Movement 3. Or Movement 6.
Movement 3.
He's a tree!
Flesh Golem. Are they Movement 4?
Flesh Golems have Movement 4, thank you.
They do. We don't even respect the scoring threat by blitzing him. We just throw diving tackle on that Agi.
Are you gonna Rumblebee it and then he's gonna score on you?
I really hope so. Always blitz the scorer, Rumblebee. Skull. Ow. Dead. No, just an injury. I was hoping the psychic powers would kick in. He's just a loner though, so you know ArchXL doesn't care too much.
He cares for the numbers advantage certainly. High elf loners are nothing to snuff at.
Nope.
What 6, 3, 4, 8? Pretty damn good loners.
I mean, yeah, any elf really is generally a pretty scary piece, even naked.
I think he's gonna do a bunch of. Oh wow, okay. Blitz him with the ball. Needed the Dauntless to work.
There's the dead.
Okay, that's a big deal.
And
plus strength leaper.
Dead. Dead into dead. Oh man, an aggressive play, paying off hardcore. I mean, to be fair, it was a 2+ Dauntless, and he had Pro as well, plus rerolls. Like it was.
He didn't have rerolls. He used the reroll on the skull, literally the first block.
Right, he had Pro as well. It wasn't like as risky as you'd think, but
no, he was still like throwing 2+ with no reroll. It wasn't like insane. It was definitely aggressive. Also, ArchXL, you poor bastard.
Sorry. Well, we have diving tackle on the Bretonnian now, but he's just going to blitz himself free, I would imagine.
Was that his best player? It's certainly.
Well, there's the leaping strip ball strength 4 guy.
Oh right. I hate your team, RJXL.
I mean, it's worth noting there are 2 strength 4 leapers.
That was the movement busted one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's basically like an AV busted blitzer.
peasants throwing in some work. Stupid derpy face peasants. Ooh.
There's not diving tackle on this ball, so it is a 2+ for.
There is. It's diving tackle on the ball.
Is there?
Yeah. Maybe girls into Panzer. I mean, all he's gonna do is just blitz himself free.
Well, it's sidestep, so it's a little scary.
You
don't actually. They're both sidesteps, so you can't even do anything fancy like.
No chain pushes. You could. You're praying for a 5+. I mean, you need a power of stumbles on 2 dice, which is not unreasonable, especially if you're going to commit a reroll to it.
Khalerick scoring early, attempting to lean on his early his improved removal dice to secure a tie, probably.
Yeah,
I don't think a win is in the cards at this point, but a tie might be.
A tie certainly is, especially since that KO stayed out, and suddenly you're up a lot of players. You were kind of even before, but with...
Well, I mean, he's only up like 2, I think.
He's up... I mean, he's up 2, but he's still up 2 on elves. The elves are down to, what, 7 players?
Yes, 7.
Which is not a significant number of elves.
It is not.
You might call it an insignificant number of elves. No rock again.
Wow. Saved by the squig stand.
And that is a very shallow kick, which is not really where the elves want it to be. They're going to have to...
tough for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to dedicate some elves to protect the ball, at least. And they don't really have enough elves to dedicate as many as they'd like. And even if they pick it up with someone close like this, they can't get that far away.
Yeah, and the Bretts do still have the wizard, so this is going to be a real tough score for the high elves.
Yeah, we don't have very many elves left to protect it, and right now all we have to do is, blitz one elf out of the way, and then we can get on the ball. If we really want to, we could lightning bolt that one elf, and then we could just blitz the ball carrier.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. It's probably what I would do. You can blitz the ball with Mighty Blow attack.
There it is.
And this guy is not sidestep, so you only need to... Oh, he elects to blitz this guy. I would probably blitz the ball. Because the ball is going to require GFIs, I think? Or am I underestimating the speediness of Brett's?
They're moving 7.
I'm underestimating the speediness of Brett's. Okay.
He's just going to run straight forward and punch him. He's just
comes in with a tackle Mighty Blow hit.
No armor break, but we do knock him down. And pretty reasonable scatter. We can get it in our... Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say we can probably get it in our hands, but we won in 36. Although the second scatter leaves it in 3 tackle zones, so it's not unprotected, at least.
Not too hard for him to get, though. He can block off... Oh, I would not have moved... Ooh, I think he could have scored here if he was... I think moving that player was a bit premature. I guess he's still got the Raj piece.
Yeah, the Raj piece is still a threat.
He just went for a 1-die tackle hit on sidestep. Oh, and then he gets a skull.
Does find a KO, and we've removed 2 of the tackle zones, which is going to make this quite a bit easier.
He's not. He's only removed 1 tackle zone.
Oh, yes, the sidestep guy. Failed the leap. Into a KO. Suddenly, things have turned around pretty seriously here.
Yeah, I wonder, could he have done that better? He's got the thrower back here free. At least one of those could have been a 2-die.
It's difficult to... I think he wanted to have the thrower free to pick up the ball and hurl it to the elf and just score.
Yeah, I get... Yeah,
I mean, I think
he just ran out of elves. Yeah, he just ran out of elves.
Well, that's the downside of only having 7 elves.
Because he was going to pick up with the leaper. No, he was always going to pick up with the leaper.
That's true.
I think he had an extra elf and could have made that a little bit easier on himself.
That's true, and he probably also could have gone for slightly less aggression. Like, you could have just aimed to protect the ball a bit there, rather than like, I'm going to pick it up and score right now, which is what I think you went for.
The short kick forced his hand because he couldn't run the ball far back enough without picking it up on the LOS and then running it back.
I mean,
which might have been the better bet.
I mean, that particular turn.
Oh, no, I think he needed to score, and I think scoring would have won him the game immediately, and he was honestly pretty likely to score, so I think that was the right move. I just think it could have been executed a bit better.
Well, now the elves are in trouble. We do have the leaper who can kind of stand up and just leap to a spot instead of having to do weird dodges here, which he does. He makes the dodge to get a 1-die, and it's a skull into a push. But it is a strip ball on non-sure hands, so we do get rid of the ball, and we're gonna try to pick it up on a 4+, and we do. Oh, fails the dodge though. Makes the 4+, fails the 2+. Although that could have been a score there as well. Was kind of a long pass, but worth a shot. I imagine we are going to try to pick up and score now for the Bretonnians, considering it's turn 15.
We got 2 turns. They're probably going to try to pick it up and stall.
That's very true. Where's the sure hands guy? Because you probably want to get it on him, considering the strip ball piece still exists.
He's there. He's in the scrum somewhere.
There he is. He is. The hand of Davcool is free now, and is going to pick up the ball with him. Makes sense. Got it. Are we out of range of that leaper now? Not technically, but it's 2 GFIs, so.
I think he's going to get kicked.
I would be surprised if he doesn't.
Not currently set up to kick him. That said...
He is going to kick him. Here comes the peasant.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay.
An armor break here seals the tie, essentially. And we find it. So that is going to be a tie game. There's nothing the elves can do about this now. I don't think so, anyway. Nope.
They can punch this guy to make them feel better.
Hit the armor 7 guy, maybe get some SPP. Which was the worst best part? Probably.
Oh, respect foul time. I mean, honestly, taking out the mighty blow that is probably going to hit you back is a sensible decision, but does not get the 6+. In fact, 1 short.
Which was the worst best part that you're referring to? But considering we're turn 16, you definitely missed whatever it was.
I mean, you definitely missed us Well, you definitely missed the death, which was probably what you're talking about, and you missed us ragging on your somewhat risky attempt to 2-turn. But yeah, that was brutal. I think perhaps
first half went so
emotions
well.
were high after that point.
First half went so well, and then the second half turned itself around pretty quickly. And that will be a tie. So I predicted the Bretts, and you predicted the Elves, and they tied. So good job us. It was a close game, and we were right about how close it was going to be.
Costly tie, for sure.
That's true. Lost one of your 2 Strength 4 Leapers.
Oh, woe is you. And the other one got MVP to perfectly level him. He has picked up not Strength, though. Oh, wait, he hasn't actually chosen yet. It could totally be Strength.
I hope it's Strength.
Is it Strength? Is it Strength?
I mean, I guess technically he lost the Wrestle one, right? The other guy was Wrestle Leap. This guy's Block Leap, which is slightly
Wrestle
worse.
is definitely better, yeah.
Well, this guy's a Blitzer.
Yep. So...
Ooh, the
catcher was movement busted?
It's a 5+5.
Oh, yeah, you take that. You got to take a movement on a Blitzer.
I would take the movement. Movement 8, Strength 4, Strip Ball, Dodge, Leap. Yeah, I'd take that.
As a side note, as a side leap-related note, my favorite thing about playing the Human League in res format Imperium is that at the end of the game, when you have nothing else to do, you can just do double GFI leaps with your Kislev alignment, so you can land them every time.
Or you can do things like what NPA did to me, where he had a Bretonnian on the ground, a Bretonnian Blitzer on the ground, and he clicked player, clicked ball, and sacked me on a less than 1% play. It was like several 5+ dodges, a couple, then like a 4+ and a 3+ dodge, 2+ GFIs with a built-in reroll for sure feet, and then a 1 die, and it worked. He got through all of the dodges with no reroll, and then rerolled the 1 die into a POW. And then he had the ball scattered away from him, and he had no other players, so I could still win if I just didn't fail a 1 in 9. And you know what I did? Failed a 1 in 9.
Nice.
It was ridiculous, and you would never even bother trying that in REBBL, because there's a pretty good chance that you lose your player to armor breaks or whatever when you fail the dodges. But in res, you just don't care, and you went for it, and it worked.
I guess you do consider taking the tackle because this is your best. This is your it's not your. It is your only. It will be your only leap tackle player. You do have 2 other ones, but yeah, it's the only one that's going to be getting into a cage.
I'm going to bring up the title screen so that we don't spoil the next game that we're going to take a look at, and we're going to go into that one.
Yeah, the next game is going to be the Rowdy Rebel Rousers versus Cantankerous Cretaceans? Whatever.
Cretaceans?
I don't care.
Createsians.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's going for like the Cretaceous.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even word anymore.
Cretaceous period.
Nurgle versus Lizards, and we predicted the Nurgle would win. So let's see how.
Let's see how predictions go. This one wasn't a contentious pick. We both predicted the Nurgle. So we're both cheering for the Nurgle here, I guess. But we'll see how right we were. We are in the Nurgle Stadium, the rowdiest place. Look at those tentacles.
Oh yeah, this is the 10th heavy Nurgle team, isn't it?
I think it's only one.
Oh, looks like there is going to be a Slibly. No surprise there. So this was...
You're super ahead.
Well, yeah, I skipped past the animations because I was going to just wait until kickoff.
I'm watching the
I
animations.
believe we predicted
television.
Bussunda would lose because he is already down a Saurus.
Yes.
Yeah, so Slibly brings him up to 6.
We did talk about this at the time. He was missing a Saurus, and we knew he could get Slibly. So we're like, well, he'll be back up to a normal amount of Saurus. But I think he was also missing his like really good skink or something.
He's missing one of his really good skinks. Bussunda has 3 incredibly gross skinks. He has 2 plus strength block ones, and then 1 agi 4 one with block.
Yeah, so
Grain is neither of the people playing here.
He has 2. Oh no, that was a different. Oh no, yeah, he's got the 2 block skinks, and then he had 1 with agi, I think, that is missing for this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shall we go?
That might have been another team. I think there was another.
No, I think it is this one where he's double strength, double block, and then he has an agi up block skink.
Yeah, so we picked the Nurgle based on the back of Nurgle against Lizards is kind of Nurgle favored, and then the Lizards are missing a Saurus and they're down their good skink, so not much of a bench, and they don't have the good skink which can do things. So that's kind of why we predicted the Nurgle. Sweltering Heat is a thing, so that could if the Lizards score quickly, that could be kind of scary. But yeah, I'm ready to go if you are.
Really bad. Yep, let's do it.
3, 2, 1, play. Wow, so many skills. Okay. Yeah.
The Lizards have chosen to receive, which is sensible. Looks like the
You don't really
Nurgle
want to give the Nurgle the LOS hits.
It's definitely not a thing you want to do as Lizards. Not setting up for multiple blocks.
Nope. Just taking the 3 2 dies and calling it there. Not even using the 1 Mighty Blow guy, but he may be planning to blitz with him.
Or the Crocs, yeah.
Blitz with the Crocs, you say? Spicy.
No. I did not say that. Don't you put that evil on me.
I mean, I literally said he's probably planning on blitzing with the Mighty Blow guy, and then you said, or the Crocs. I don't know how else I'm supposed to interpret that.
Oh, sorry. When you were saying the 1 Mighty... I was referring to the fact that you were like the 1 Mighty Blow guy.
Oh, yes. No, this is a replay in Cesticide.
We always cast replays on alternating weeks.
Yep. Mostly because if games don't happen to be live exactly when we need them to be very often. There's block number 1, we find a stun. Block number 2 is a nothing. And block number 3 is a nothing.
Big ol' nothing. So this is a bit scary. As Lizards, you're always terribly afraid of blitzing.
Blitzing claw players.
Well, blitzing, it's not the claw players because he doesn't have one available to him, but it's blitzing foul appearance players.
Oh, no, I meant, I thought you meant like getting blitzed by.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be able to make his blitzer safe if he does choose to go in with a blitz here.
Yeah, and that's always the scary thing.
Oh, Skink fails the pickup.
As like even when I play Nurgle, sometimes I just don't blitz on turn 1 because you can't.
Lizards chose not to blitz.
Yeah, you can't make them safe all the time. Especially with the piling on guy, you'll be really tempted to use the piling on, and then you're very likely to get fouled. Well, that's really stupid.
Block Beast choosing not to do anything today.
Man, the tentacle animations on the Nurgle warriors are terrible. Like, whenever they move, they just instantly flatten straight out behind them and then teleport back to being wiggly afterwards.
Yeah, they're like a cape.
It's
Stand firm, slibly doing stand firm, slibly things, leaving quite a few Nurgle players based up, if I'm honest. This can be the downside to playing against lizards. If you don't get the knockdowns, lizards will beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, they outstrength you pretty easily, and unless you have a crazy amount of guard, which it's hard to get as a Nurgle player sometimes, the lizards are... The lizards are able to punch back really well if you don't happen to knock them down.
Lizard's not getting a knockdown there. Oh, and that was a break tackle launch. Okay. I was confused for a moment. Might try a 1-die here with Slibly. This is... Oh no, he goes for the Rodder instead. Okay.
And we do find the Rodder knockdown.
It's going to be a little tough for the. It's not going to be tough necessarily, but the Nurgle are going to have to commit players to the Croxig. The Lizards could position this a bit to make it harder, but it looks like the So the Lizards now can have claw hits on their Gorosaurus, but the Nurgle have to base up some guard to do it.
And that's fine. I mean, as a Nurgle player here, you're like, hey, free claw hit. I don't have to use the blitz for it. And then you're going to use the blitz for the other claw hit, and then you just get 2.
Yep, and that's exactly what he's doing, committing the beast to these players, so he gets 2 claw hits this turn, potentially.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to use one from the claw based up, and then one from a blitz.
And it looks like we're putting the other one onto the Croxigor, which makes sense. It's an important piece to take out.
I'd be more tempted to hit the Saurus, but yeah, the Croxigor is a pretty important piece.
The strength advantage is so big, and he gets an armor break.
You're ahead. There's the knockdown. Do we find? And we're gonna find the armor break, I guess, because Shadorra is a spoiler McSpoiler pants.
Dun, dun.
It's just a stun though.
Ooh, goes for a 1-die on Slibly there with a horny Necro Cricket. Oh, they were both 1-dies. Yeah,
Oof.
And rolls a skull. That was spicy.
It was. I'm sure there was probably a way to make that not a 1-die.
You would have had to choose a different target. This, no, actually, it was. No matter what you did, it was a 1-die because of the way because of the Rodders that were shoved in here. They were blocking up available guards.
Oh yes, I was about to say you just shove tentacles onto your skink, but it turns out Slibly getting a second block and knocking him down makes it irrelevant. Although that would be scary if that failed. Slibly is a loner, and you couldn't reroll like your double both down or whatever.
You don't really care if one of your loner skinks is based up on 10s.
I mean, he's not. He's going to be essentially useless, and then probably get killed.
Gets a blitz on the beast here with Mighty Blow piling on, and
goodbye.
Yeah, he's back, but.
It's a regen, but that's
casual 11 and an 11.
Well, that's a big thing, right? It's a block guard piece removed. It's strength 5 removed. It is tentacles removed. I mean, it's movement 3, but still, like that beast is a really scary piece for the Nurgle if you can get it in a good spot. And him
doing the tactical 1-die skull here on the Pestigor so that he gets knocked down
and avoids the claw.
There's no dirty players actually
planned,
on
calculated
Atomex's team, so. No foul will be as good as a Claw Mighty Blow hit, potentially.
Nope.
Just a normal 42% for removal.
We are now into the wall of lizard flesh that is ever so annoying for Nurgle to deal with once the lizard get positioned.
Very sandwiched Claw Mighty Blow piece, but you can get him out with some assists.
The big thing is, like, yeah, Nurgle are kind of favored in terms of that they've got the Claw Mighty Blow on the armor 9.
For one of the skinks. I guess he does have tackle, and this is a Claw Mighty Blow hit, resulting in a kick.
Like, the Claw Mighty Blow is certainly a thing that the Saurus are afraid of. Kind of, the lizards do rely on the armor 9 sometimes. But once the lizards get in the Nurgle into this position where there's just sort of a wall of Saurus, the strength is too much to deal with sometimes. Oh, foul appearance is a thing, yeah.
Casual Slibly KO on a rock.
Like 1 second ahead, 2 seconds ahead, maybe.
I'm pausing real long on the KO screen.
I just skipped it, so maybe we'll be even now. Man, but we are also in the situation where there are so many players together that their skills are running together, and it's very hard to see what's going on.
Ooh. GFI with a loner there. That's ooh, and then a 1-die. Oh god.
So many 1-die skulls this game.
I mean, just a lot of like. I don't feel like these need to be 1-dies. It's a little bit of.
There is the knockdown on the claw piece, so we're saving at least one more claw hit. Well, probably not actually, because he can just blitz. But we don't knock down the other one. But he's marked up against 3 lizards. All
could have pushed him onto the ball, and the ball could have taken it.
What a good idea. He's based on 3 lizards, all of which have guards, so
What? He's got block. What could go wrong?
Ever so difficult for him to actually get good hits here. We will 2-die Slibly, but stand firm.
Necro not really getting the dice they need here.
Considering they're Nurgle, they're definitely not.
Oh, there goes a loner, though. Loner skinks notoriously easy to break. So if that other KO stays out, this is a numbers advantage for the Nurgle. Nurgle failing the first D6, they throw that.
But they do make the second one. But they
fail the
third one. Yeah, they re-roll it, they get it, and then they try a second GFI.
Nothing like the classic, I need 2 2+, and I fail 3 out of 2, or 2 out of 3.
Yeah, well, it was a 2 2+ for, I almost said a 3-die, but no, that's a strength 3 skink. So it's a 2-die. Another injury on a Nurgle warrior, and that's a claw one. That's a big deal for the lizards.
Yeah, I mean, the regen is definitely nice. But
the regen
this half
is handy,
basically lost for the Nurgle.
And the lizards aren't afraid of stalling anymore either, because they've removed all the like mighty blow or all the claw except for 1 right now. So they're way less scared of the Nurgle.
Like, I don't think the Nurgle can physically catch up to the skink by the end of the drive, really.
No, but it's also the Nurgle often force you into the early score, not necessarily because of the I'm going to sack your ball, but because of I'm going to kill your team. And they'll try to avoid blocks by scoring earlier. But with the claw player out and only 1 being lying left around and kind of thoroughly controlled, you're not very worried about it anymore, and you can kind of stall to your heart's content.
Elects to go for a hit on the blodge piece instead of the Nurgle warrior. I don't know if I like that.
No foul appearance to worry about.
Didn't roll the 2. He could have just 2-died with the skink onto Luminous, and instead tries to dodge.
We stand up and blitz the skink, but we find nothing.
He's gone to the always hit skink school of beating lizards, which I think is a little overblown, if I'm honest.
I mean, especially when you have Claw Mighty Blow, because I would play always hit Saurus, school of lizard fighting, if you play with Claw Mighty Blow.
He no longer has the guard and strength in that position to hit them. It does free up his pieces now, so he's taking slightly fewer Mighty Blow hits. But then we get in the classic lizard problem, which is it's hard to run away from lizards and set up a sweeper when lizards are as fast as you are, and, 1 strength.
Turns out Saurus are very good. Movement 6, Strength 4, Armor 9. Incredible. I drank 5 beers that were 7%. I normally only have 2. Okay, fair enough. Although, to be fair, like a lot of this is just you've had good players removed, and lizards are very hard to play against as Nurgle if you don't get removals.
Yeah, I don't think your play has been like noteworthily bad or anything. It's just
no. I mean, the big strength Nurgle have against lizards are being able to remove lizards. Lizards are especially vulnerable to removals. But if the lizards can get you into a position like you were on, I think, turn 3 or 4, where suddenly they have a wall of lizard flesh in front of you, like all with guard block, and they're higher strength than you just can't get blocks anymore. And you can't really utilize your strengths because they have all that strength in the way. Lizard's just going to stall because they can. They're not really under any pressure to do anything.
Having fun?
I like fun.
I don't understand what fun is.
No, you don't.
I do alright. Don't be mean.
You have no idea what fun is. No, you don't. You don't have any fun. Not with this game.
Not lately. Man, I've been getting crushed. Though the Necro game was
another 1-die skull.
Yep.
Into a stun.
Yep.
I generally have fun. I think yesterday I didn't It wasn't as fun as it normally was, but that's just because I was in a very grumpy mood in general, rather than Blood Bowl specifically. It's true. Sometimes I do get grumpy. Normally I'm a stoic, emotional rock, but grumps happen sometimes. I mean, that's not really safe.
That's pretty safe.
I mean, he moved the ball closer to the guy that is a 2+ away from one dying him, but I mean, he's one dying where he needs a POW. So that's another that's a double skulls again, coming, and but this one is resulting in an injury. The Apo is used, which is and he's fine, which is good for the lizards. But it's
a bold statement, as some might say. That's saying I'm playing to win. Fuck you, Nurgle. I don't care if you kill my players. Oh, and speaking of one dies,
that's what I was gonna say, is that he had a 2+ into a 1 die because we moved the ball closer.
And now we're picking up on a loner skink. Hey, it's a 1 die skull.
Oh my god, what is with these skulls? Oh my god, I was trying to say that Pestigor was a 2+ away from a 1 die. He was looking for a POW, but he got it, so you know, whatever. And the other point I was going to make before all this nonsense happened was that the Apo is a resource that, you know, the armor heavy teams that you play against as Nurgle have, and you're kind of okay with it going, because once it's gone, then every removal at that point is a real removal, right? It's a resource you want to like eat from your opponents, just like you would a wizard or whatever, right? You want to get it gone so that you can do other things.
Rolls a 6.
Easy pickup. Although picking up with a loner skink is terrifying.
Playing lizards will teach you to fear the 3+.
I feared 3+s all the time. I have played like 3 seasons of Nurgle without sure hands, like a ball carrier ever. I understand. 3+s are terrifying, but it turns out you just can't get sure hands very easily on skinks, and loners are worse because you can't really reroll it.
No, you just roll Agi.
It's fine. Well, we go into half. We're gonna go into turn 8 here. 1-0 for the lizards. That was the lizard
damage
drive.
To speak of, really, for the lizards.
From
the lizards, I should say.
The sweltering heat doing literally nothing except for removing the rod, the Agi strength Raj player.
Doing literally nothing other than removing the Nurgle's best player.
Well, he's going to come back now because we're going to go 1 turn until we switch sides. So now he's guaranteed to be in. Oh, that's
true. This roll didn't actually matter. I forgot. Yeah.
Anybody who went out is coming back for sure. It's the next one. If it continues, that is the one that matters. Honestly, the lizards would hope for the claw pieces to be out so that they don't get to claw pit your LOS. But he put skinks in the LOS to avoid that problem, I suppose.
Yep.
Although that's
what I would do.
They're just as likely to go out to the mighty blow and stuff, but it turns out you'd rather lose the skinks than the Saurus as long as you still have one.
Ain't doing a thing.
Block number 1 on a skink. Uses the claw on the skink instead of hitting the Slibly with the claw, which I think is probably a mistake.
He's gonna flip. No, okay. He's making weird decisions.
Yeah.
He was, as discussed, a little drunk.
Does find an injury on that loner skink. I mean, it's just a loner skink, but we have officially entered player advantage territory now. There was a bench of 1 and
Nurgle
2 players are gone.
Beast of Nurgle can get a 3 die
on strength 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you can, yeah.
No, he can't.
Nope. I would have lined up to do claw hits on Slibly and then had the mighty blow from the Beast of Nurgle have a free 3 die on one of the skinks. But it's just me.
And Pestigor gets a 3 die even.
Yep. I imagine well, actually, if you stand firm here, you just can't foul him. Because
that would have... No, there was one player who hadn't moved yet, I think. Yeah, the mighty blow Nurgle warrior. Hadn't moved.
That's true.
KO on Slibly, so that's a thing.
Yeah, if he doesn't come back, that's a big deal for the lizards, honestly. And it's a 4+, so we'll see. Are we gonna foul that loner skink? I hope not.
That's fine. You've got a bench and he doesn't. No, absolutely. Foul that loner skink every day.
Do you have a bench? You have a bench of 1. Oh yeah, that's probably. Or no, 2 because you had a full team, and yeah, that's fine. Never mind. Ignore that statement.
The plus Agi Rotter.
Almost as good as Glob. Too bad Glob is dead.
What happened to Glob?
Hausdorff's Homewreckers killed him. 2 weeks ago? Not the week that just happened. On literally turn 1, the Chorf's turn 1, they were like, well, clearly what I have to do is blitz Glob. So he blitzed Glob and just killed him. And then I screamed in chat and said, my wrath will be endless, and then murdered the entire Chorf team.
Both KOs staying up for the Lizards, including Slibley, so...
And we
that's a big deal. And they lost their best skink to the Heat.
Yeah, the Heat stayed on, so we have lost the good skink.
The Heat is on?
The Heat is on.
All night on the brink. Well, I don't remember how that song goes. But then it goes, I'm going to Miami.
I don't know that song.
From Will Smith's brief pop career? No?
Oh, is that the, like, Welcome to Miami?
Yeah, it is that one.
Oh, there you go. And Luminous State is out with the sun, so that's a Mighty Blow Guard Tentacles missing. But we do.
I'm waiting for Atomex to forget to put on his vamp. How much do you want to bet?
Oh, let's see.
He remembered. Fuck.
Oh, you're ahead then. There it is. The 2 claw pieces are back, and the Beast of Nurgle is back. So suddenly things are looking good for the Nurgle. I say good. It's Nurgle are slow. It will be very difficult to win from this position unless you like just murder all of the Saurus.
Yeah, I mean the lizard goal here. Kick off return. I fucking hate that. Blizzard. Oh, Blizzard. That is terrible for the Nurgle.
That's
so
really bad.
What you look to do here as Nurgle, I think, is make things safe and then try to just kind of like kill as many Saurus as possible. And like you only really score early if you think you can stop the lizard 2-turn, but that's a tall.
I think at this point, if I was playing this Nurgle game right now, I'd be like, well, this is a tie. The super deep kick and the blizzard means you are not, or even if you like run and hand off and like roll those like 3+ GFIs, you're still probably not scoring till turn 14, and you are not turning over. And all you're doing at that point is just giving the lizards a chance to win. I
don't love this casually giving Rotter hits away. I think he was thinking about blitzing, but I don't know who he's going to blitz with.
Yeah, I mean, if that was a short kick and this wasn't a blizzard, I would probably go for the win, depending on how removals went. If the kick was short, you could get going pretty quickly, and then if you removed like 2 or 3 more Saurus or 2 or 3 more players in general, so that you were going to be up a significant number of players, I could probably consider scoring early and trying to go for the win. But
did you forget to blitz?
Yes.
You forgot to blitz.
The super deep kick, the snow. This is screaming tie for me right now. Somebody did a thing. That is Slade rating with a party of 2. Miners champion from last season, Slade the Black Mage. Welcome, Slade folks. We are doing a
superhero skink immediately tries to dodge 1 and 9s and kills himself. Oh, the lizards had 2 appos.
Oh, that explains that.
That's why we saw the aggressive appo. So that was an armor bust on the movement busted hero skink, but he got better.
Yeah, we are doing div reviews on Div 1 and 2A of REL. So if you're REL folks, feel free to check out our opinions on the top divisions of REBBL. Is Slade having a good REL season? That's nice.
I don't like the lizards choosing to make a risky 1 and 9 before doing a lot of really easy block.
Just a stun. Claw Mighty Blow being Claw Mighty Blow piling on, for that matter, being mostly useless and just finding stuns. But then again, Slade is 1-1-2, I think, currently middle of the table in Div 3C with his miners team, Terror Alliance, the Chaos Dwarfs. Certainly not too bad for a rookie coach, as it were.
It's an ambitious place for that wrestle guy to be.
Here comes the pass.
Nurgle pass.
It's fine. I made a great Nurgle pass to beat the Chaos Dwarfs like 2 weeks ago.
You throw the most absurd shit. I don't understand.
I mean, last week was just lucky. I felt really lucky all week, and I just went for dumb stuff, and it worked, and it was great.
Yeah, like, oh man.
I mean, to be fair,
I was tilted on behalf of your opponent.
to be fair, I was in a position where it was do this or don't score, so I'm gonna try it, and then it just happened to work.
Yeah. It was the right play after, like, you should have scored like turns ago, but that was. All right, this is it does put tail onto this Agi 3-piece.
Yeah, with the very aggressive positioning here from the Nurgle, it looks like he's going to be greedy and try to score early. I don't really like it because we haven't really removed anybody, and he's going to get 4 players back, or like could get 4 players back, I should say. He's going to get 2. Yeah. He's going to get 2, and he could get 4. On average, he gets 3.
Hitting the armor 8-piece with Mighty Blow, smart. Doesn't get any results.
It's certainly not terrible to set up for it, and if you happen to get another removal or 2, then you can say, cool, now I can score early. Or surf the Kroxigor! Oh. Or just kill him, that works too.
It would have been a 1-die surf with the ball carrier.
Don't care, surf the Kroxigor! We do get the stun, that's handy. Although it's not really the removals that you need. I don't think you can afford to score until there are less lizards.
Fewer lizards.
Less lizards. It's less lizards is a
casual 4+ dodge. Casual 4+ dodge into a sack.
They're break tackle.
That was 4+ with break tackle.
No, he just rolled a 4 though. He didn't even need the break tackle.
No, those were 4+ dodges with break tackle. They were -2 dodges.
But he rolled a 5 and a 4, so he didn't use break tackle.
No, that is using break tackle. It would be a 6+ dodge for a source to dodge that otherwise.
I thought it showed break tackle when
it does
they used it.
when you're playing the game, but it doesn't in the replay, I think. It just like defaults to using break tackle.
Oh, weird. Well, we do sack the ball carrier after all that, which... I mean, speaking of things that you just have to do, even though they're unlikely to work, and then sometimes they do work and you feel great, that. Oh, God, I hate that tentacles animation. I'm like almost not looking forward to when Hepatitis B drill levels up and doesn't roll plus strengths that I have to take tentacles and he looks really stupid.
I'm so glad that Hepatitis B drill, my favorite named player on your team, is still alive.
He is one of 2 original players on that team. The other one is Vile Flume, I think. The killer Chaos Warrior. The one with like Claw, Mighty Blow. Block Tackle. Everybody else has been replaced. Those 2 are originals. Although Hepatitis B drill is Blodge Stand Firm, and he gets KO'd the first hit he takes every game.
Oh, Slibley is back, so the Lizards get the 4 aforementioned players.
Yep. So
I do like that it went from sweltering heat to blizzard. By the way, just canonically, I enjoy the the weather of this.
Wherever they're playing, yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing now, right? Is that the Lizards have a full team, and it's gonna be difficult to stop them from scoring. And it turns out 5 turns is a lot for Lizards.
Scoring with these teams in that amount of time should be cake for these guys. Speaking of cake, he tied his AD game.
I play mine tomorrow.
I hope it goes better than my game versus those rats.
Well, literally everybody this week has lost. So
no, I think Ellie lost and Urs lost. I tied and Cake tied.
So lost.
Sure.
Nobody has won.
Turn 1, first block, non-mighty blow. Movement busted my ogre.
Nobody has won. Is that better?
That's certainly true. Our teams are horribly cursed. I played rats who based me for 16 turns, took like something like 20 armor breaks and no gas.
I won last week.
I won the first week and then I got 2 ties.
I've
never lost.
Neither have I.
Ties are, you know, null. I haven't killed anything, so or no, I've never permanently killed anything, so I've never lost us any points.
I got a Kaz on. I strength busted one of the Dark Elf linemen last week, and then he didn't bounty me, even after I specifically reminded him that he could. Because I'm too nice of a person, I guess. I was like, don't forget, I cast a guy, you can bounty me. And he's like, cool, I'll talk to my leader. And then he just never did. So, you know.
You only have an hour, so like some people forget.
Well, like the game finished and I was like, don't forget, you can bounty me. And then he didn't. So
I don't think people take that league super seriously. I certainly don't.
No, neither do I. I don't even remember who I'm playing, and I'm playing them tomorrow.
Who do we even give you?
I'm playing Spoonman, whoever that is. I mean, I know who Spoonman is. I don't know what his team is.
You're playing Orcs.
Okay.
Decent matchup for Undead at the... Not the best, but not the worst.
I'm missing a white, I think, or is that Clan? I'm missing a white on one of my Undead teams. I don't remember which one. By missing, I don't mean they're dead. I mean, like, they're MNG.
KO coming in here on a Saurus is certainly nice.
Yep, and we've got a lot of Nurgle in the way, but the lizards could punch through this and then run to space.
Easily, yeah. Lizards outguard and outstrength the Nurgle at this stage. Yeah, there's an easy hole just by literally punching one rotter. So maybe a bit ambitious for Atomex to go all mans.
Yeah, I don't think I would have.
This also lets Slibly get in behind the LOS. Oh, no, he's going for the rotter.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're about to see a potato play. Yeah. I don't love this. The rotter is Agi 4. It can just dodge away. That said, it would be, again, hunting for a 1-die POW.
And it's 3-2.
Would have been easier, I think, just to outrange the...
It's also 3 2+s to get that 1-die, so...
No, it's 1... Is it?
Rotters are movement 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 2+3+3+, because he's Agi 4. But you could actually just do a 3+2+.
Oh, right, Blizzard. It's Blizzards.
You could just 3+2+ and hit the ball.
3+ because it's Blizzard.
No, 3+2+ dodge. If you just went straight through Slibly's tackle zones.
Oh, I see. Yes, and that's better than the 2+3+3+.
It is. Look at us, recappers. We know math. Some of us have several degrees in it.
1.
Hey, look.
1 is several.
Is that a blizzard? Yep, that was a 2. Oh, 1 and 9.
There it is.
Oh, it was actually happening simultaneously on my other screen, but that's the stream, so it's slightly behind.
Yes. And the lizards are going to go score, and now the Nurgle have to 2-turn, and unless this blizzard goes away, that's really hard, especially against lizards, because the way you 2-turn as Nurgle is put Pestigors near the end and pray, and then it turns out generally what you have to do is like blitz yourself free, and you can't really do that against lizards very easily.
This is kind of the struggle of 2-turning with movement 6. It's not that movement 6 can't make it in 2 turns to the end zone. It's just that you have no one to support those movement 6 pieces because everyone else is slower. And you have to run the ball from wherever it lands to a handoff position. So lizards are really good at 2-turning because your support pieces are movement 6 and your scoring threats are movement 8. You can easily screen off a couple of skinks and score. They're one of the best teams, honestly, at 2-turning.
Yeah, Nurgle 2 turns are very much run Pestigors forward, pray, and then very often you either have to blitz yourself free, run into the end zone, and then nail a long pass, or you have to get a handoff if the kick was really short. Or a pass into tackle zones and then blitz yourself free. Like you can't ever protect the players generally.
Yeah, it's much easier with Chaos because everyone is movement 6 and the Warriors are movement 5. So
yeah, when you have movement 6, 5, and 4, and 3 on this team, actually, you've got a whole straight of movement values. 3, 4, 5, 6.
From average to abysmal. Good kick though. Potentially a free catch.
Well,
50 does matter.
Yeah, you can just mark up the players that are on the LOS for the 2-turn, and then, or at least put players in the way, and then he's not going to though.
I think that's a bad choice. He could have committed some players to make this impossible, basically,
I mean,
or at least very.
Even if you don't want to like mark players on the line, you could have just put like the stand firm guy one space behind the LOS, like just right in front, and then both those Pestigors can't get through. Like one probably can, but then you have an option to just blitz that one.
I understand that you forgot because he didn't do anything with it, including he didn't move his players off of Claw Mighty Blow.
Yeah, that was like the weirdest use of perfect D I've ever seen.
That's badly hurt. Slibbly is fine.
That's not true. The weirdest use of perfect D I've ever seen is my clan game against dwarves.
What did they do?
The ball was just over the LOS, so it's a 3 and 8 to touchback, and then he took his entire dwarf team and put it directly on the other side of where the ball was. When I had a white literally on the LOS on the other wide zone, and then of course the ball touchbacked, and his whole dwarf team was in like one side of the pitch. I touched back to my strength 4 white and ran up the other side.
This is the starchiest thing I have ever seen. Never before has a scoring threat been so poorly protected.
Here comes the free 2-die with Tackle Mighty Blow piling on.
Could have honestly made it a 3-die. Doesn't even...
He didn't get it?
He didn't get it. A push would have been good enough, to be honest.
Yeah, because it puts them in a range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it makes it so that it needs 2 GFIs, but they're both 3+, so...
Yeah, and I mean, you'd be covering him off. This is actually a... it's possible for him to get a 2-die blitz off of here, I think, yeah. I mean, harder now.
I mean, he's also just 2 heads, so... You can 3+2+3+.
Oh, right yeah, now. This is an easy score. Oh, that makes it harder. Okay, that's not bad. So now you could... So I think the play here would be...
you mark up the Saurus, you mark up the Skink, and then you blitz yourself onto the other Skink. He has sidestep,
yeah,
but...
how are you going to get onto the Saurus, though? How are you going to get onto Karnatsa? Oh, he's also diving tackle. Never mind. This only works if you get a POW.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, no.
So that's basically spells. It's the end of this.
Do you just try the... you could try the, like, 4+, 3+, 2+, 3+.
Oh, he's dodging through tackle zones. He's going... Oh, no. All right. He was going for some hero pass play. I think he was going for a 6+ pass. I don't think you can even pass that far in Blizzards.
No, you can only do quick passes.
Quick and short, yeah.
So I would have... I think the best thing to do there would have been to, like, literally just click Pestigor, click End Zone, and pray. Like, you need a 6, but, like, it's pretty much the only thing you can do. Or 5? 5. Hornet is KO'd. And that is the game. I think I probably would have played for a tie as the Nurgle there. And we finish off with a bonehead loner failure. Stunty passes.
Don't. This is mostly to Ben, as I saw him do it recently. Don't dodge on turn 16 when you don't need. Dodges are armor rolls. Armor 7 things die.
He was trying to level his Skink. It's fine.
Not worth, probably. 1 and 9s happen, and losing your Skink because you have no cast left or no Apple left is the thing. So yeah, that was an interesting match, certainly. Nurgle kind of beating up the Lizards, but not at the times they needed to, and kind of being forced into an awkward 2-1 grind, which is the Lizard game plan always, is to force people into the wrong end of a 2-1.
And these KO casualties are a little bit misleading, considering that there were 2 Appos. So those 5 casualties were really 3, as it were. So there was never really a situation where the Nurgle were massively numbers favored. Which is kind of where you need to be against Lizards. So that was that. This doesn't explain very much. Yeah, 2-1 for the Lizards there. So let's take a look at the other games from 2A since we're here, and what our predictions were. It's worth noting we predicted the Nurgle there, so we were wrong. But what did we predict in Murderers?
That was the only time we were wrong in Div 2, though.
Is it?
I'm going to grab a beer and pop by the bathroom, but I will be back shortly for recaps. For reviews. Well, it was the only time I was...
Okay, well, I guess I need to pull up the predictions then somewhere because normally you have them.
That's true. You were relying on me.
I can pull them up. I just have to open up the YouTube video that I wrote them in the description because that's the only place that I have them written down.
Good. Tiny bladder. Oh.
Hello. That was my voice very briefly. Okay, cool. So in the Necro versus Orcs match here, Murderers Row and Greenskin Brawlers, Shadorra predicted the Necro, and I predicted the Orcs, and I was wrong. He was right. 2-0 for the Necro. The Necro have picked up MVP on the dirty players, so he probably just gets Wrestle. But he has not selected that level yet. Random lineman gets MVP. 52 blocks and 63 blocks is a very punchy game on both sides. 4 KOs, 1 injury, 2 injuries. Yeah, very similar numbers of removals, but Orcs are kind of that team where you don't want to be similar number of players to the players that are much faster than you, like Necro are, with the ghouls and werewolves. But to me, it kind of explains a little bit what happens there. 50% KO wake-ups versus 100% KO wake-ups also makes a pretty big difference. 40% dodge, but he only made 5, so that's not really a big deal. So the Necro take that one down. Rats against Teen Stars and Rouge's Gallery. We both predicted the Rats would take this one, and we were both right. 2-1. Clawpalm Holland grabbing the MVP to level up, and he is finally not Clawpalm because he took grab. Oh. Oh god, that's so funny. I was really expecting that. I was super expecting that. I was like, Clawpalm Holland finally has grab. Oh man, maybe I'm too tired for this. 2-1. 1 death sustained for the Rats against Teen Stars. I mean, it makes sense because he's probably using it to help him with like 1-turn attempts, grabbing players to push them into places so that we can push the gutter runners more easily. It makes a ton of sense, but I just thought that was very funny. Chorf Blocker picks up MVP. Good. They're kind of hard to level otherwise, although this one is not one that's hard to level with Claw Mighty Blow. 39 blocks versus 44 blocks. 1 injury, 4 KOs. 3 injuries, 3 KOs, 1 kill. 4 casualties sustained. Yeah, I mean, kind of what you expect in a Rat versus Chorf game. You know, Chorfs punch Rats, Rats die, Rats score too many times before the Chorfs can kill enough Rats, then the Chorfs can't score enough to catch up, I think is basically the story of this game. You missed probably the greatest moment that I've had in a while.
I'm queer. I do this every year. What's up?
So I was looking at Rats against Teen Stars versus Rouge's Gallery, and I was like, cool, Clawpalm Holland has gained MVP. That made him level. So finally, he has, and then I clicked on him, and the result is grab.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, I understand why. I built myself up to this huge thing, expecting to see piling on, and then it was grab, and just kind of laughed my ass off. It was pretty good. But yeah, Rats scoring before the Chaos Dwarfs could remove enough Rats. They did remove a bunch of Rats, but you know, not before the Rats made it 2-0 or 2-1. Then we had Reality Kings versus Fallen Wonders. I believe we both predicted the Whistler for this. Oh, this one already happened, right? We didn't predict anything. This had already happened.
Because Superfed keeps playing on Wednesdays, as noted by the time, or as he just posted that he played against Routes of Storm.
Well, considering it's Thursday.
Yes, Thursday, whatever. He did play on Wednesday last week, though.
Yes. So last week, Reality Kings, Fallen Wonders, 3-1. This is like 17 armor breaks to 13. I mean, it's a very control-y, punchy, if they want to be, Kislev team. Like, they're kind of
honestly surprised the Amazons got as much punching done as they did. I mean, admittedly, they do have guard access and they do have Mighty Blow. They tend to be a pretty bashy team, but the armor 7 compared to the like pretty prevalent tackle on Superfed's team, I think would have swung this in a different direction, especially as there was 1,000 TV difference, though I'm curious what the Amazons took at.
Anger grabs the MVP and levels himself to pick up Frenzy. So we've got a leap like, diving tackle, mighty blow, block, frenzy player now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, 55 blocks and 42 blocks is a lot of blocks, especially considering how Superfed normally plays. But when you get this many removals, that kind of makes sense, I guess. You just continue the punch game. You have that much tackle and mighty blow compared to your armor 7 opponents. But Fall does know how to play Fallen Wonders well, or sorry, knows how to play Amazons well. So you should always respect that. And but he takes it down 3-1.
He did give almost as good as he got. So
yeah, for sure. Rowdy Rebel Rousers, we just watched. We predicted the Nurgle and the Lizards one, so we were both wrong on that one. But we were right for the previous two, and Justin was right for the first one. Oathblow and Fogmire Fen Beasts was this... No, we predicted the Lizards would take this, and once again, we are killing it this year with another correct prediction for both of us. Lizards winning 2-0 over Oathblow. 3 armor breaks for the Norse, like in total.
Well, this was the Norse that suffered the loss of their best player last week on top of a bunch of bad MNGs, so they were going into this game with basically nothing. But yeah, the Lizards pitch cleared them.
God, yeah.
5 KOs and 6 injuries. 9 Kaz sustained for Oathblow. Jesus.
12 blocks succeeded. That's less than 1 block per turn. And at least once you went on offense, where you could probably get 3.
This might have been a legal concede. I'd have to look into it, but it looks like it might have been a legal concede.
Oh dear. It might have been. That would have been a 2-0 result, right? I don't know how they get processed.
Yeah, I don't know either. It looks like it's worth noting on 12 blocks, Oathblow rolled 1 defender stumbles and 4 pows. So not great.
Nope.
Armor was abysmal, and yeah, the Fogmire Fen Beast just crushed them.
Well, poor Oathblow. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to seeing what that team looks like next week. We're not looking at them this week, but when we look at that team,
my boy Francis Drake making the most blocks of any players on the team, I think. No, Puff did, but Francis Drake was up.
I feel like Oathblow may be down quite a few players when we get around to taking a look at them next week. The secret of my success. And Felwith's Coadedal. Never going to get that right. We have High Elves versus Orcs. We predicted that the High Elves were going to win, and they did. 2-1.
Orcs getting 20 armor breaks, resulting in 8 removals, but not quite enough to avoid getting 2-1 grinded by the Elves. Kind of a classic tale.
Yeah, 47 blocks.
Elves actually getting 2 injuries themselves. It looks like... Is this a fresh injury on this guy? No. Oh, Jesus, right. He's got like 10,000 injuries. So MVP going to the many injured Rodek Knife. And to very good MVPs in general, probably to the 2 strongest players on each team. But
yeah, kind of what we expected to happen here is that the Orcs weren't particularly equipped to deal with elves of this caliber. And because this is the elf team that exists entirely to troll you with the sheer number of ridiculous levels they have, and the elves were just able to 2-1 grind them, presumably. The Orcs did get a number of blocks, but it didn't really stop the elves because these elves are ridiculous. I can't really tell you if that's exactly what happened, but based on these numbers, the elves scored very quickly. They were quick scores with very little ball possession, so probably what we saw earlier with ArchXL, kind of quick score, go on defense, make it hard for the Orcs, turn them over, quick score, and then you kind of leave the Orcs to do what they want. Thick, Rich, and Creamy, and the Cogs of War. This is Necro versus Dorf. We both predicted Necro, and we were correct. The Necro took this one down. I believe I have a note about this game somewhere.
We usually get notes from... Why can't I remember his name suddenly?
Jimmy Burrito?
Yeah, Jimmy Burrito.
Zombies did a ton of damage, removed some Black Orcs early. Wait,
oh, no, that's
a different game.
Last week's note.
That's last week's note, yeah. Never mind.
Damn it. Not a lot of injuries in general. 41 blocks to 56, resulting in basically no damage. The Dwarfs, looks like they maybe got fouled a little bit. They sustained 3 injuries, 2 of which were from blocks. But yeah, not a lot of action. Very much a game of Just kind of like moving game. Not a lot of people being broken in general. A lot of blocks happening, but not a lot of damage being sustained.
A lot of blocks on both sides, but like this screams 2-1 grind to me. You know,
I mean, Jimmy Burrito's armor was on fire, so that certainly helped. Yep. And the dwarf's armor was pretty solid too, really. So
for being they are dwarves after all.
There's claw floating around, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this screams 2-1 grind. It's like reasonable number of blocks from both sides. Not a whole lot of removals on either side, and one team winning over the other team 2-1 is very...
Hey, look, the faster team won when damage wasn't a thing. Dwarf life.
Pretty much. I mean, if the dwarves ever get too much out of position, then suddenly they can just get punished by speed. So after that, we have... well, ignore the Kislev being at the top, because they just played a game. But we would have... two undefeated teams still at the top here. Superfed with Reality Kings and Jimmy Burrito with Thick, Rich, and Creamy would both be at 3-0-0. Superfed has obviously moved into the lead with 4 there, having just won a game. We've got Not For Science, Fall, and Doc M all on 2 wins, bringing up the sort of second place type players, and then it sort of falls off from there. Poor old Russellford Sea Butter being down at the bottom there, 0-0-3. Oh, I had notes about Rusty's game. That's what it was. I would like to state for the record that I completely controlled that game and snaked the pickup onto turn 16 into elf shit, is what his his statement about that game was. So let me check that. That was the secret of my success against the elves. Yeah, so he had it in control apparently, and then snake to pick up on turn 16 into elves scoring. So it was very likely going to be 2-1 orcs and then snaking pickups. So now we have to predict next week.
Yep. And first things up is the Greenskin Brawlers versus those High Elves, whose name I'm never going to say.
Yep.
So I don't think Professor Chaos is used to his orcs getting so many inducements. He is down his best black orc, who has MNG'd. Yeah, just MNG'd himself. And his best blitzer. That's a big deal. One of his tackle, Mighty Blow, as well. Both just MNG'd, thankfully. But he's going to have
700k
and 5 guard. But yeah, he's going to have 700k. So that's what? Ripper, Wizard, Babe, Bribe. Probably don't even really need the Babe. Your armor 9. I mean, yeah, just pick up. I mean, you could get Morg, but Morg isn't really good against elves.
No, not really.
He's not bad, but
I mean, you could ball carry on him, and that wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, I think there's a script ball floating around.
That's true.
Yes, there is.
So the good news for Professor Chaos, ton of guard, and he does have sure hands. Bad news is that elf team.
Yeah, gonna be a tough game. Orcs are good at beating high elves. Traditionally, they're fast enough to keep up and have the Mighty Blow to kind of compensate.
Not this week.
Not this week. They're down. Well, they're only down 1 Mighty Blow, right?
Which means they only have 1, and it's also their only tackle.
No, they have 2 tackles.
But one of them is gone for this week.
No, they have 2 tackles that are still alive.
Do they? Where's the other one?
You're missing Flabke.
Oh yes, I am missing Flabke. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want to have faith in the Greenskin Brawlers, but I think I want to give this to the elves. Like, these elves are pretty ridiculous, and Professor Chaos missing some players are not going to help. And that one turner elf certainly exists. The problem is those elves only have 11 players, and they're not going to get any more because they are way ahead in TV.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an orc team made to beat pitch control teams. I think I agree with you. I think the elves are the favorite.
Yeah, that's basically what my thoughts are. I think is that this orc team is really good against similar TV'd control teams because they are block guard spam. That's not necessarily how you beat elves. Then we have Cogs of War and the Fogmire Fen Beasts. So we've got ourselves some lizards and the dwarves, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Well,
they're kind of lacking in guard dwarfs. They only have 1, 2, 3. Does this guy have? He does eventually. He's piling on block, Mighty Blow,
Death Roller,
grab, guard, Death Roller. Tough matchup usually for dwarves. They're too slow to keep up with the lizards. They're too weak. Like lizards count 2 for 1 even with guard. So any lizard with guard is incredibly hard to deal with. That said, this lizard team has a decent amount of guard. It has 4 frenzy as well, which is potentially slightly exploitable, especially because there's no like super skinks to do stupid things for the lizards. But it's going to be a tough sell.
I'm going to go with lizards. I feel that the lizard strength is going to be a problem for the dwarves that don't have very much guard lying about. They're just going to get pretty aggressively outstrengthed, I think. Dwarves do get some inducements, so they can have that death roller up for a long time, but a death roller can only do so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Thick, rich, and creamy versus cantankerous rotations.
So Nurgle on Necro. I just played this and can say that it's kind of an awful matchup.
It's lizards and Necro.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking it was the Nurgle team. Yeah, this is a better matchup for the Necro. So the crustaceans do have a better team now, right? Because their players are.
They have their super skink back, and they have their full complement of Saurus. One of them is armor 8, but whatever. 2 of them are armor 8.
This team. Oh, there it
is. They're both on the first page.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good team for fighting Necro. It's got a lot of guard, and it's got super skinks that are tough for the Nurgle slower piece or the Necro slower pieces to do with. That said, werewolves are a thing, but Beerhead and Cliffs of Dover are, strength for strength as strong as werewolves. So that does kind of help, though. I think this is the team with the super.
Yeah, it does help, but it turns out both werewolves are block, tackle, mighty blow. So like, yeah,
it doesn't mean it needs an assist. So like, that's the problem with Necro, is that you often run short of players. So that requiring of an assist to get a 2-die is a big deal for Necro, simply because what the game plan often is tie things up with zombies, flesh golems, and whites, and then send ghouls and werewolves after the skinks. And if suddenly like you need twice as many players in the backfield to get a reliable hit on a skink, then things get a lot scarier.
Yeah, I still feel like I like the I think I like the Necro for this one still. There are a lot of lizards that can be difficult. There's a lot of strength, there's a lot of block and stuff, and those skinks are ridiculous. But there are no inducements on either side. And there are only 11 players for the lizards, so
the Necro are out their dirty player, which is actually a huge deal.
It really is.
Lizards.
Actually,
it means you can't get a nice dirty player foul.
They're still gonna foul.
They're gonna foul, but they have less of a bench, and
they don't have the dirty
they're
player.
less likely to get a good result out of it.
Yeah, because if he was there, I would 100% say Necro, just because the Necro, there's really good skinks certainly, but like the lizards will go down a player to the Mighty Blow Claw and to the fouling, and then they have no bench, and they're not going to be able to get a second Apo or anything because they're similar TVs. But with that dirty player out, it actually makes quite a bit of a difference. I think I still want to go Necro, but I'm less sure.
I think I'm going to go lizards to keep things interesting.
Sounds good. The Secret of My Success and Fallen Wonders. So we've got Falls Amazons, and we've got the Russellford Sea Butters Orcs. So the Amazons are going to be down 1 player. They're missing one of their blitzers, but it's like their least important blitzer, so just the rookie one. So that's not terrible.
This is kind of a terrible matchup for Zons usually.
I guess it depends on how much tackle there is on Rusty's team, and I mean there's 2, but there's also a boatload of Mighty Blow. There's a lot of strength. There's a lot of guard.
Fall is gonna get a billion inducements again. 1950 versus 1480.
How much are an Amazon line women? 50.
50. Yeah.
So they're really 1530, but
yeah,
still 420.
420. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Zara. A bribe for
you
that
could
dirty
get
player.
Zara. I guess she's another Blodge strength 4, but
yeah, it's another Blodge player. It's a bribe to utilize that dirty player. Try to remove an Orc. Wizard. The Orcs don't really have a good way of defending against. They do have 2 Agi 4 players, I guess, which kind of negates the Wizard a little bit. That's a good question. My brain says Rusty. My heart says Fall. Or the gut says Fall, I guess. I mean, Fall's been playing really well. He's 2-0-1. He's going to get a boatload of inducements. So, sure, let's back the Amazons. I think it's cool. You don't see Amazons very often.
I think I like the Zons for this, actually.
Well, we're in agreement, weirdly. Oathblow and Rouge's Gallery. Oh dear, I am sorry, Crown Jelly. Well, the Norse team that has been beaten up very recently and is mostly consisting of skillless linemen versus the Chaos Dwarf team.
Oh, I wonder.
I choose Chaos Dwarfs.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to get 700k in inducements or something, but like, there's only so much that can do when you have not that many players. And it's actually slightly less than that because he gets 3 loners. And
Chorfs are a tough matchup for Norse on the best of days, and this is not going to be the best of days. So.
He's really 1380, so it's, you know, slightly less than the 700k we just said, but yeah, it's a rough match for Norse. You know, their advantage is block. Turns out the Chorfs also all have block as well, and you know their armor 7 is going to get pummeled by the mighty blow spam. It's going to be difficult for them to deal with the bull centaurs, especially the Agi 3 sure hands bull centaur. I'm gonna give this one to Chorfs.
And then we have Nurgle versus Necro in the actual matchup I was talking about.
Murderers Row and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers, 2150 and 1960.
Yeah, key players here to watch are Albert Squish version 2.0. The Agi Up Wolf is going to be the one doing all the work, I think. It can be tough for Necro to get good claw blitzes on Nurgle, simply because they'll use their cheap disposable linemen and much greater strength to kind of out-bully the Necro, so the Necro have to play a much more dodgy game. So it's going to be a little tough to get the good claw palm hits, though I assume he will get some. But yeah.
The real question is, how much does Atomex plan to drink for this one?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? He's definitely going to be looking to base up and outbash the Necro, keep them tied up.
Pretty much. So
that he can, you know, use Bird potentially to flush out any potato play. He's going to be serious again.
The good news for the Necro, I guess, is that they have a massive bench. They're at 14 players, so it's going to be, even with the Nurgle, the Nurgle Claw Mighty Blow, it's going to be difficult for them to chew through all the zombies to get to the nice players. And if the werewolves can ever get out of range, like their movement 8 is literally just so out of the way for the Nurgle. Like movement 6 on their fastest players versus movement 8. And then we have a movement 7 white that can support it, a movement 7 ghoul. You know, as long as the zombies don't get terribly destroyed very, very quickly, I think there's enough sort of a blade of zombie armor and dirty player potential that the Necro have a really good shot at this one. It's certainly very scary for them, and they're probably going to have to not care about their zombies to win, but who cares about their zombies? I mean, I think it could go either way. I think it's a really close match, honestly. I don't think it's very easy for either team to win this one. I think I want to go with Necro. That may be my own personal bias coming through. I play a lot of Nurgle, and I lose to Necro all the time because I'm bad at playing against Necro, but I think that's a personal problem rather than a Nurgle problem. So, you know, my gut says the Necro, but that's just because of my own play, I think.
No, I also agree. I think the Necro are slightly favored.
And I think that's mostly on the back of a massive bench. If they were at like 12 players, I think it's a lot harder for them to win. But they just have so many zombies; they can throw them at the Nurgle, not care.
Shall we look at the Div 1 leaderboard?
No. First, we should look at the Div 1 match results.
True. Fear and Bloating versus the Grody Greens. We predicted the flipping pages.
The Nurgle.
That Joker would win, and Joker did indeed. He beat Lazarus 1-0.
And I think that was mostly on the back of, you know, bigger Nurgle team is scarier. They're a better
I
bash
watched
matchup
this
team?
game. It was a weird game. So a lot of shit went wrong for both teams. Broadly speaking, it was pretty close. Laz had a ton of inducements that did a lot of work, and actually was the one doing most of the punching. Got a kind of numbers advantage at a really fortuitous time, and then like turned that into a lot of really good hits, while the Joker was kind of like out muscled on the pitch. The Grody Greens have a really disgusting beast of Nurgle that was really holding fort down.
Yeah, 2A. Both Div 2A and 2B have pretty decent diversity. I mean, 2A is ridiculous because there's like only one team I think that's doubled up, and that's Necro and Lizards. 2B is very diverse as well. I think it's
Div 1 has 4 Nurgle.
Yep.
So yeah, MVPs, terrible for Joker, amazing for Lazarus. He gets a block guard warrior out of it. Rookie Rodder picking up the MVP for Joker is kind of unfortunate, but he took the win, so no complaining.
I like winning.
Yeah, totally. So the next up was Pantheon Pastors versus Khemri Do It Yes We Can. I picked the Pro Elves, and you picked the Khemri, and the Khemri won.
Boom. We're dead even so far. We've both been like really right, but I've predicted one of the contentious ones wrong, and you've predicted one of the contentious ones wrong.
Yeah, I mean, T-Self is my... T-Self are my ogres this season, right? I keep betting on T-Self. He keeps disappointing me utterly and completely. You'd think because he's not actually playing ogres, which are a meme team, he could win, but nope. So...
rolls more than normals, the Throw Raw, who has in fact rolled a doubles at one point, picks up the MVP, and just grabs Fend, which is a normals, unfortunately. But they win 1-0. I mean, that makes sense. They probably defended, and then, cool, it's my drive. I'm going to sit here until turn 16 and then score while beating up elves.
Yeah, it looks like you pitch cleared him.
Yeah, 15 total blocks from T-Self, yeah.
Like, all jokes aside, I was talking to him about this game, and even given the ridiculous casualties he was sustaining, there was a moment where he had a pretty good shot at scoring and winning or tying it up, and like things just didn't quite work out. So
yeah, there's always a chance for elves, it turns out.
Yeah, and it kept almost giving him a shot and then snatching it away at the last moment. So tough game for T-Self.
This is pretty much how I thought this game would go, though. 7 KOs, 7 casualties. Like, I just sort of assumed the Khemri were going to be able to remove enough elves to stop them from doing anything, and that looks like that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, and in an interesting result as well of us being wrong, Dark Elves taking a 2-1 victory over the Necro, where they outpunched nearly double. Like, they made nearly double the amount of blocks while both teams were KOing the shit. Looks like the Necro maybe dodged themselves to death a little bit. They're 6 KOs sustained and 3 Kaz. Maybe the Dark Elves were doing some fouling, but Dark Elves aren't usually the kickiest team. So yeah, that's interesting.
The fouliest team. They often have kick. I wish you had a camera so I could see your facepalm right now.
No, I just ignored you.
That works too.
Arsgodia versus Scooby and the gang. We predicted Chaos would beat Necro, and we were wrong. I watched this game. It was an interesting one. Chaos had...
I just trumped up how well we were doing here, and then you go ahead and get 2 wrong in a row.
There were some weird results. Like this one in particular, there was certainly some bad results for the Chaos, and they weren't getting the removals they needed early on in the game. They kind of got a little bit going towards the end. But they got 23 armor breaks and 2 Kaz, so it kind of tells that story. And then on top of that, there were a couple of like little to serious mistakes the Chaos made that gave the Necro a pretty big opportunity to just run away with this game, and they did 1-0, almost 2-0. Honestly, there was a pretty good shot at Travel Scrabble making it 2-0, and he just kind of mucked up the play a bit, so it didn't quite work out.
No. Disappointing. Yeah, like then Chaos not really having the ball very often. Severely outrun around by the Necro. Not too surprising considering how speedy the Necro can be, but like 51 blocks not resulting in while still getting kind of out removed, or at least close to out removed, is not really what you expect. We have Nurgle's FTDs and grungy desserts in another Nurgle mirror, because there are 4 Nurgle in this division.
Yeah, we predicted Sace would win again, or Sauce, and he did not. Stouticus winning this 1-0, so we are not crushing it in Div 1.
I should believe in Staticus. Staticus believes in me in the REL 2B recap, so perhaps I should start believing in him.
That's the thing. Cannoli, as you are, was a key player, certainly, or one of them.
Apparently,
a lot of stand firm Nurgle warriors that were just doing work.
Apparently, Queefiest Drippy Lips gets the MVP in a ploy to make me say that name more than I want to.
He was block only and not really that close to leveling, like in the playoffs, and he's at 28 now. He just keeps vacuuming up those. Yeah, there was a really good. This is a really excellent example of greed punishing you incredibly hard. Like some of Sauce's dice were bad, certainly, but there was a key moment where he chose to pick up on Agi 3 when he had an Agi 4 sure hands piece sitting in the wings, but didn't because he didn't want to get SPP on a loner, and then he won a 9 to pick up and failed to tie because of that. Specifically. So
be less greedy.
Yeah, sometimes greed is bad, friends. I understand the desire to keep SPP off of legend players, but you're rostering them for a reason, you know?
I would take the tie over the chance at SPP on a better player, but also chance at losing every day.
Yep. Though it was a bit of a weird game. Sauce was out removed despite out armor breaking his opponent by nearly a factor of 2.
Yeah.
Nurgle mirrors are strange beasts. They often come down to regeneration, in which case Grungy Desserts didn't even... Oh, no, they did. So both of them were pretty good on regen. Like not really a lot of serious removals going either way. So it came down to more ball handling and scoring.
It can often come down to, like, you know, who happens to roll the one bad turn. Like, if, you know, you don't get the knockdowns on one turn, then suddenly the momentum can swing. Like, very tempo heavy can happen. Something like a bad foul appearance can very easily just swing it in a Nurgle mirror when things like little things can make a big difference in a Nurgle mirror, like foul appearance.
And speaking of upsets, we were wrong again. Chorf versus Welf, and the Chorf.
We're so good. Wrong everywhere.
2-0 win over Archangel's Will. Archangel's Will apparently got effectively pitch cleared.
Yeah, that's the worry. I mean, Archangel is certainly very good against playing against punchy bash teams, but every once in a while a punchy bash team will just remove enough elves that you can't do anything, despite being good at playing that match. Sometimes you lose players.
MVP on the dead loner says that.
Khalerick saying that Archangel had an off game here, so maybe it wasn't specifically just removing too many elves, but I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, everyone has off games. We all play tired, we all play drunk. Shit happens. It's a game.
Turns out it's a game, and we play this for fun, and nobody should try hard 100% of the time, because then it gets boring and stressful.
Or at least don't beat yourself up too bad when you fuck it up.
Yeah, that's true. You just have somebody else in your clan do that for you.
I beat myself up too. I just beat everyone up. I'm just the bully.
No bully. Shadorra's a bully.
Really.
You heard it here first.
I'm a nice human being. I like people to be happy. Not naming sports team 2-2'd against Khalerick, as we saw in the recap.
Yep.
We had a contentious pick on this one, so no points for either side. So yeah, the moment you said we were really good at this,
we got everything
we were
wrong.
Wrong and or tied every single match after.
Perfect. Yeah, so combination of not the greatest game for Archangel and also his whole team getting removed will certainly not result in anything good for the Wood Elves there. But there are plenty more games. After those games, this is what the leaderboard looks like. One undefeated team in this division so far, with Travel Scrabble doing really well so far. 3-0-0, Scooby and the gang. RHXL, Khalerick, McMackey, Zeta, Archangel, and the Red Joker all following that up very closely with 2 wins apiece. Some ties versus losses in there, but very within 1 win of the leader, certainly. So certainly a very tight division, which is what you expect in Div 1, honestly. 5 playoff spots up for grabs here.
The grand total point change for both of us week over.
Is it 0?
It's 0.
Excellent. That makes my life a lot easier. Although I'm going to forget that number, so you're probably going to have to tell me again.
I got 4 points in Div 2A, and you got 2. I got -4 points in Div 1, and you got -2.
Excellent. So, I mean, at least that's good. We are strictly average, so we're just as good as flipping coins.
No, I think broadly speaking, we're still both in the positive, but
I think that's true.
We can
Ever so slightly better than coin flips. That's what you're here for, folks. Better than a coin flip.
Yeah, we're basically stockbrokers, you know. We're slightly better than a cat picking stocks based on randomness.
Pretty much. Don't. If anybody tells you they know how to pick stocks, they're lying, or they're one of like the 0.001% who actually can.
Broadly speaking, the market is usually like just betting on the market is the better bet.
It really is. Buy ETFs, folks. Now, right. So where were we? Leaderboards.
Hey, this is the only moment our educational backgrounds have like some crossover. You know, statistics. I have an MBA for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Reasons. It was free.
Raisins. And then so then there's some 1-wins, and then unfortunately Uber the Nuber, High Lord Salt, and the Grody Greens have gone 0-0-3 so far, which is surprising. We've got the Nurgle team that was in the
3 0-0-3s in each div.
Yeah, well, the Nurgle's FTDs, you know, final Super Bowl final team currently at 0-0-3. So,
are we doing cast into the playoffs memes yet? Is that
I don't know. Probably.
Am I hip yet? I don't know.
Ace Trucking Co. versus Fear and Bloating. So we've got Kicks 96, and we've got one of the Nurgle teams. The Red Joker's Nurgle team, the slightly less developed one. The Fearful 3+. You guys are great. Well, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. I don't know what the Fearful 3+ means, but I like being called great. So he has bought a new bull. So Kix has got a rookie bull to bring along to this one, not just one available now. I mean, I also invest. I just don't do it as a career. If that's
the statement "I invest" period is just great. I'm just like taking the piss, but it's just
yeah, Chorf team, right? There's a whole bunch of guard, whole bunch of mighty blow. There's 3 claw mighty blow, which is pretty serious. And then we have a Nurgle team who are going to be missing their beast, missing a Nurgle warrior, one of the claw pieces. I think this is going to be really hard for the Nurgle, honestly.
Oh yeah, this was the other thing. Fury and Bloating, every single cast they took that game was a perm. Like a permer and MMG, basically. So it's just like a brutal thing. There's a movement bust on the niggled Nurgle warrior.
I appreciate that. I like that. That's fun. I made a bunch of money off AMD and then used it to buy not AMD products. As a mild NVIDIA fanboy, I kind of like that. I think I like the Chaos Dwarfs to this one, mostly just because the Red Joker is kind of injured after his last game. And
normally Normally this is a game where Nurgle are very favored. They have regen. They have more natural access to Claw Mighty Blow. They have Strength 4 in greater
not for this game.
Greater quantities, but yeah, not in this game. And Ace Trucking Co. does have the killers to kind of...
Yeah, I mean, if this whole team existed, I would probably like the Nurgle, just because, like you said, there's more strength. There's generally regen is a thing as well. In this match, they're going to be almost out-strengthed, and they're super out-guarded, and they're out-mighty blow clawed, and they are going to be getting inducements, and Nurgle inducements are garbage. So I like Chorfs.
I don't think it's a done deal, but yeah, I think Chorfs are favored here.
Not an anime sports team, and Nurgle FTDs. So we have another... There's going to be a lot of Nurgle matchups to predict here. So we've got High Lord Salt or Sauce, and we've got ArchXL's not an anime sports team. So Nurgle...
This is why you're better at Div 1. I hate Nurgle. You are Nurgle.
That's true. Man, I love Nurgle. There's so much
An
fun.
Unfair advantage because there are 0 lizard teams in Div 1.
But we were both wrong a lot in Div 1. Let's see. Well, we do have the Super Bowl finalist Nurgle team. They haven't been doing that well so far. Hopefully we can turn it around a little bit against some elves. So High Elves versus Nurgle is a weird one, especially since they're both sort of teams that come into their own when they get a ton of skills. Sort of traditionally, I guess, Nurgle would rather play the punch matchup, the bash matchup, because they have a big advantage there compared to other bash teams. And they don't really want to play the elf teams. They tend to not have very much tackle. The elves tend to not care very much about all their claw. Only tentacles is only relevant sometimes.
This is a very long-winded way of saying that I think the high elves are going to win. Sace has one tackle.
I mean,
it's going to be a bad matchup for Sace.
I wasn't necessarily...
Or Sauce. I keep doing that. It's because I was in a div with Sace last time.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily going to say that, but I mean, now that I look
one
at
tackle
again,
to
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 block.
Yeah, high elves. It's really like elves are really hard as Nurgle, in general, and it's a really developed elf team. It's
the Nurgle could show up and like just curb stomp the high elves, but barring that, I think the high elves have the advantage.
I mean, it is high elves, so they do have armor 8, so the claw isn't at least wasted. They're
going to get 3 to 4 claw mighty blow hits, potentially on each LOS setup.
Mm-hmm.
But unless those are producing serious removals, which on average they're not, they're going to have a tough time, I think, keeping the ball safe. And
yeah, pretty much the only way Nurgle will win this is by going up a crazy amount of players over the elves, and that's not necessarily likely to happen.
Yeah, like Wartigor is a beast, but he's only going to be by himself, so he can potato with his 2+ dodges, but the pro elves are never going to, or the high elves are never going to have a problem sacking him.
All right, Zeta and Battle Brothers, Khalerick. We've got 2000 TV Chaos versus the Elfie Bretts, who are going to get 400k in inducements.
I feel like this is kind of a bad matchup for the Chaos.
It's certainly not good. It's not bad, but it's not good. I think the big thing is...
missing anything important?
They're
missing the
Raj guard.
Oh, so they're only going to have one guard. How much does these end? Many.
Yeah.
So that's certainly going to be a problem. The Chaos are just going to base up and beat the hell out of Khalerick if he lets them, but Khalerick plays the Elfie game, so he's going to have that advantage. He's got the speed, he's got the agi by, heaps. So he's going to have to just kind of play the keep away. He's got a ton of blodge. He's got the dirty player to disincentivize like piling on.
Yeah, this is what my point was. I think
has a couple of tackle though, so it's not that bad for him.
If this was a regular Brett team, I would just be like Chaos and not even look at it anymore. Like they're a human. They're basically faster, kind of weirder humans. Since Battle Brothers have so many agi ups and can play the elf game, I think it puts things a little bit more towards them rather than just immediately Chaos. But I mean, I still like Chaos. I think this is a Chaos favorite matchup, but it's not as bad as it would be against a standard Brett team. If Khalerick can like utilize that elf playstyle he kind of plays with, then perhaps he can do things. But I still think it is Chaos favored.
I think this is a great matchup for these Chaos. I think there are lots of Chaos teams that fare quite poorly against teams with as much reliability as Brett's have.
That's very true. But these Chaos are so well developed. Then we have High Fivers and Archangel's Will. So Archangel's Will gets to play not quite a Super Bash team in Necro instead of Nurgle or Chorfs for once. I guess the question is how much damage has Archangel sustained from that last game? And I feel like the answer is not very much. Nope, he's fine. Totally fine. This is a good question. I mean, so...
Necro are like among they're a hybrid team, are usually better at handling elves because they do have speedy players with tackle access. So,
yep. Although he's missing that one.
I have not looked at his team yet.
He is missing the tackle wolf. He has the grab mighty blow wolf, but he does not have the tackle one.
Oh,
that's
these
a flesh
other
golem.
werewolf also has tackle.
Oh, those are flesh golems. They're at the top of the list. I was thinking they're werewolves because your team is in the wrong order. There are 2 tackle werewolves.
Yeah, so he does still have El Bundy.
And Bud Bundy.
El Bundy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bud Bundy is less impressive, certainly, but
he is also a tackle wolf.
Yep. So they're mostly intact. They're missing a flesh golem. It is a tackle flesh golem, which is a big deal in this matchup, but it's not like the end of the world going into an elf coach. Archangel has what going on these days?
He still has He Who Catches Unseen. He's
only got 1 tackle, and it's a lineman. So actually, the amount of blodge that the Necro have is going to be relevant.
That's true.
Both werewolves, only 1 werewolf and 1 white have dodge. So and of course the ghoul, but the ghoul is pretty slow.
I feel like Archangel is going to want to try to redeem himself after his last game and pull off a win in this one.
Yeah.
Could be hard. It could be hard. It's not going to be his easiest game, and it's not against Bash, which is certainly what he's used to playing against. So it may be pretty difficult, but I want to give him another round of my blind faith before I start predicting a little bit more with my brain.
I like Archangel, and I think he's a great coach, but I think this is a bad matchup for the Wood Elves, and I think that Necro with a Wizard can potentially beat this Wood Elf.
Oh, that's very true. I didn't think about the Wizard. Too late. I've already predicted. Pantheon Passers and the Grungy Desserts. So we've got T-Self, Elven Unions, and we've got another Nurgle team, right?
I picked the team that isn't T-Self. Stouticus. Stouticus is my new T-Self.
Well,
relationship ended with T-Self.
T-Self is missing two of his pretty good players. Like two of his catchers are just down.
Stouticus is missing Black Hole Sunday to a movement bust. Or no, just an MNG. He was already moving.
Double Sunday. That's a Dragon Ball Z reference. I think I need to back Stouticus. Like I said, he's been backing me. I think I should back him. But also, yeah, like this is a pretty good Nurgle team. They've got a lot going on for them. T-Self is missing one of his Agi 5s. He still has the other one, which certainly, Agi 5 is never something that you want to count out. But he's going to be at 11 players. Pretty likely to take some removals. There's going to be a bunch of loners.
This is also a Nurgle team that's pretty well set up to take on
that's very
Agi.
true.
It's got a good amount of tackle. It's got a really good sacker in Sponge Cake Ma'am. Sponge Cake Ma'am.
Sponge Cake.
Ma'am.
I would like some Sponge Cake, ma'am. Yeah, there's a lot of tackle.
Does get a wizard, though. That is true.
But there are multiple agile, weirdly enough, like I say agile, but I mean speedy and like things like two heads Nurgle players. We even have kick, surprisingly, and kick is pretty good against elf teams when you can force like a short kick, which is very strange to have on a Pestigore. But we've talked about that many times. I love it, but it's very hard to get. So
don't tempt me, T-Self. I've been burned before.
Stouticus. I still have to pick Stouticus. I'm sorry, T-Self.
Yeah, this is gonna be like Hiroto all over again. This is
Probably.
Like a spite anti-pick, and you just have to prove you're right. Use the fuel that my anti-picks are giving you to surge you to victory.
Mine is less an anti-pick and more that Stouticus is blindly picking me for the div reviews for 2B, and I want to give him a little bit of faith too. Grody Greens versus Scooby and the Gang. We've got Travel Scrabble playing Lazarus Diggs.
You said Travel Scrabble like it was your least favorite thing. Like, Travel Scrabble.
I haven't slept.
Like, what the fuck did this guy do to you?
I haven't slept in like a week. I'm really tired. I've been like,
it's like your brain rebelling against the idea of Scrabble as a concept. You're like,
Scrabble is. I hate playing Scrabble. I very much appreciate Scrabble as a game.
You like the idea of Scrabble, but you hate playing.
Yes, because I'm bad at words. But it turns out Scrabble isn't really a word game. It's an area denial game, which is much more interesting, but it's disguised under a word game. It's complicated. I like Scrabble, but I don't like playing Scrabble.
Fair enough.
Scrabble's an area denial game. It's all about like the weird like double word scores and like those positions and stuff, and it's less about putting down your biggest score and more about denying opponents' big scores. And once you're very good at it, you'll see people do all kinds of weird plays specifically just to deny possible plays from other people. Watching high level Scrabble is very cool. I will never play Scrabble.
Watching high-level Scrabble is very cool.
Yep.
It's not a sentence I'm entirely sure is true if we put it under the scrutiny of...
It is, man, it's true. Watch like the Scrabble World Championships sometimes. They have like pro commentators and stuff. It's fucking awesome. Alphabet, like
I just hope that there's some commenter just like screaming his head off about like, high level plays, like it's a team fight in a MOBA.
Like, yes, there's like people that sit at a caster desk and like talk about the Scrabble plays. Like, oh man, there's still like 2 E's and an M left in that bag. If he draws the M, he would have this word. Let's see what he draws. Oh, and he gets the M. Like, oh, it's so good. It's amazing. You have to watch.
Kind of sounds like it deserves like a sports anime.
It's
like
incredible. High level Scrabble is incredible. Like there's a dude who won the French language Scrabble championships and won like 20 grand. Doesn't speak French. He just memorized the French Scrabble dictionary.
That's pretty cool.
And he was so good at like the area denial kind of stuff that he won anyway.
So I'm now convinced that Scrabble needs its own March Comes In Like a Lion to amp it up for me. If you can wrap Scrabble around a story with compelling characters who all make me want to cry, then we're good to go.
Anyway, Travel Scrabble, the Necro team, with stupid
Are you gonna
stats.
cut that out, or is this gonna make this?
This makes I don't cut anything out of the actual show because I'm way too lazy to watch 3 hours of recorded footage and cut out stuff. All I cut out is like the ums and stuff from the intro and outro so that I look like less of an idiot for the people that only watch the first 2 minutes. I'm way too lazy to watch the entire thing and cut out everything.
Fair enough. All right, Grody Greens versus Scooby and the gang. Another Nurgle game.
Yes, Necro, man, it's a very, very good Necro team. Like, there's a crazy amount of stats against the Beast of Nurgle and Friends team.
Yes, the incredibly strong, literally Beast of Nurgle, who like really carried Lazarus last game almost to a victory, to a victory.
Yep,
I don't remember. He played really well. Not a lot else going on. 1840 and the Nurgle Warriors don't really look like it versus I
mean, I like Necro for this one. Necro can be kind of difficult for Nurgle depending, but Travel Scrabble has been playing very well this season. 2, that's an incredible Necro team. There's a strength 4 Ghoul, there's a strength 5 Wolf, there's a strength 4 Agi 4 Wolf, there's a strength 4 Wolf. Like this and against a tall Nurgle team, like it is with the Beast, and they can just kind of run away from the Nurgle Warriors and get away from the block guard area control, and not be too worried about it because there isn't that much like Mighty Blow lying around.
You just have to be really careful not to let the Beast ever land on Muttley, because at strength 6, you're never going to get that. I mean, that's like a skink trying to dodge off of a normal Beast of Nurgle, right? You're never going to make it.
Yeah.
Well, not never, but it's going to take you on average like 4 turns, so...
Yep, it's the Beast of Nurgle is scary, and Tetanus Timmy is scary, and that's basically the only thing you care about as Travel Scrabble here. And the rest of the time you should be mostly in control, I think. So I want to give this to Travel
you should have an easy enough time isolating Tetanus Timmy, especially as he's Agi 2. If you can get him on the ground or even just
on a zombie,
away from them, on a zombie, like he's never going to get off of him unless he casts that zombie. I think the Necro have the advantage here.
And then Khemri do it? Yes, we can. And Rebellious Scions, we have Khemri versus Dark Elves. Got McMackey and a Velociraptor. Well, we saw what Khemri can do in our last game.
Khemri aren't bad against Dark Elves. They tend to get a decent amount of tackle, and they've got a good amount of Mighty Blow to deal with the...
he's got 3 tackle, and he's got 5 Mighty Blow.
6 Blow, and a Dirty Player. Dirty Player is the real one to watch for, though he is movement busted, which is unfortunate. 2 tackle versus only 6 blood.
Dead even in TV, but only 11 players for the Dark Elves means that 5 Mighty Blow is going to do work if it ever manages to land. Like every removal is a massive deal here. Strength 5 is pretty difficult. So the elves are so good. Like those blitzers are incredible. The witches are good. Like this is kind of a Dark Elf team in a nutshell, right? Like they've got a bunch of really good players, but it turns out that makes them very expensive. 100% depends on removals. I think these Dark Elves are so good in terms of their skills that, like, on average, they're just better than the Khemri players. But if any one of them gets removed, they lose such a huge chunk of their team, and I think one of them is going to get removed eventually because of Dirty Player and 5 Mighty Blow. So I want to go Khemri. Yeah, I want to go Khemri.
Yep, agreed. The Dark Elves just don't have the speed, really, to do the, like, crazy elf bullshit that gets an elf team away, like, that allows an elf team to, like, run away with the game versus a team like...
Yep.
It's still possible, certainly, but it's not as, like Wood Elves versus Khemri favors the Wood Elves fairly often, I think, but it's a little closer with Dark Elves, simply because that like, lack of natural movement 8 makes things...
Yeah, like the kind of Dark Elves tend to rely on, I guess, their players being good quality rather than like crazy elf nonsense. It's more like, hey, look, I've got 4 Blodge players. I've got, you know, a Raj Frenzy player, a Block Frenzy player. Like you've got a lot of just solid, reliable, nothing really fails type players because you have all those kind of reroll skills. And then they blow it up pretty quickly, and then you just kind of play your defensive game, your not fail things game. But that you blow it up pretty quick, and then you can lose players, and like that kind of thing can fail to variance pretty easily, and Mighty Blow tilts variance in your favor a little bit. Let's bring up the title screen, because that is all the things that we are talking about in week 4. I'm gone next week, so no div review on my channel next week. It is going to be on T-Self's channel with T-Self and Shadorra. They are going to be talking about that week. I don't know what'll happen in terms of a YouTube video there. We haven't figured that out yet. But the live show will be over on T-Self's channel, so feel free to check that out for the results next week. I believe you'll be looking at teams and stuff. I don't know if you're going to follow the same format or not. It won't be my show.
I mean, I assume we will. We'll probably, like, we're not going to suddenly switch it up. So we'll look at the teams. We'll do the normal thing. I'm sure we'll have a great time.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll definitely check it out. I don't know if I'll be able to while I'm gone, but I will certainly try. So yeah, I'm about to vanish for the next week. I don't really have good access to Blood Bowl or anything. I'll probably be around Discord a little bit, but that's about it. That's going to be us. Thanks for hanging out, folks. We will see you next time, which for me is in 2 weeks. For Shadorra is next week. And until then, I'm in Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
Thanks for hanging out, folks, and we will see you next time.
Cheers.